Just outside of downtown Indianapolis lies a mecca of North American racing. The state of Indiana is home to more than just the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, though. It's got plenty of major grassroots venues that feed the motorsports we know and love. Indianapolis Raceway Park, IRP, is one of those places. And tonight it plays host to the 5th round of the area Lodgebox series with a 160-lap race. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn tonight. A mission of Hunter Slepp. He couldn't make it this evening. Connor, 160 laps. This track is extremely unique in the short track world. It puts on some great racing at times, but it can be a challenge to keep the car off the wall and off each other at a place like this.
Yeah, glad to be here. Kind of love this track. I've won races here in official, ran well here in higher up series, but overall it can be fun, but you have to have the right people to do it, and hopefully these area drivers are ready for the task at hand. It's a very small track IRP, almost one grooved at times, where you really want to be against that wall, and it can be very hard to make passes. So we're going to see what people are willing to do to make those passes tonight, because track position is going to be important.
Talk about that single groove you see here in practice, everybody already up against that outside wall, and even look at the marks that you see up on this fence. This is just how the night's going to be. Everyone will be fighting for that top. The only time the bottom is going to work, I think, on the long run is if everyone gets jammed up on the top. You can dive to the bottom, but it's still going to be a challenge to make up any ground down there, and it's going to be the big story of the night. Single groove, and while this place might look multi-groove because you got cars all over, they're all just fighting for the top. It's like reverse Martinsville.
Yes, it does seem like a reverse Martinsville in a way. It's kind of like how Darlington, the only groove is the top, but this is a little bit different because at least you have options on the bottom. The only way, like you said, we'll see passes on the inside, or if drivers like the 10 of, I believe Logan Hartman gets into a wall, and you can just take advantage of that. The Brian Chambliss goes by, or you might be able to wait for the guys on the outside to wear their tires out to the point where maybe you'll just have just enough grip to complete that pass on the bottom. It's going to be a lot of comers and goers, like you're talking about. That outside line can get clogged with 10-plus cars. It can also get clogged with a car sideways. Travis Beckner dies there, but everyone's going to have to be careful of stuff like that. It's another issue. If the track gets clogged up with a wreck, you have nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's going to be a topic of discussion tonight. Here's a look at the playoff picture after race 4 of 17. James Scioli, Shane Therian, and Alan Elwood all locked in after 4 races. We've got a long way to go until that playoff begins, but John Furness, he is due for a win. Connor continues to run up towards the front at number 28. Colin Fambro's not too far back. Cameron Hearn could win a race at any moment. Brian Chambliss is out, hot out of the iron there with that 25 car. And then looking down the list a little bit, David Weishart in 12th, already at the cut line. Long way to go, Connor, but his season has not started the way I'm sure he would have liked.
And I think that's a little bit deceiving. I think he's ran better than that 12th place points right now. Only 2 to the good over Greg Mitchell. I think he's ran better than that, but late yellows and untimely yellows have really cost him. But 4 races through, we're starting to see the points gap just broaden out a little bit. The guys like Furness, Fambro separating themselves point-wise, while the guys at the bottom of the order, Matt Cochran, Ricky Hard, and Steve Durham, have got to get going at some point.
James Scioli is the only multi-time winner so far this season. He's currently fastest in practice, no surprise there. 482 is his best time on the board. Won last week in Iowa as well in a fierce late race fight. There were some dramas there late. Kind of a messy race the last time we had an event as well. But we did have some good racing through the majority of the first half of that event. So looking forward to see if we could get the same tonight. But again, the challenge tonight is going to be green flag runs. And then if you get green flag pit stops, Connor, this pit lane, oh boy, this is an adventure in its own right.
Yeah, definitely not somewhere I really practice green flag pit stops. Definitely not somewhere I'd want to practice green flag pit stops. You go back to that blimp static view. Hell, they used to pit people off the very middle of that back straightaway. You turn left there, and you kind of have 2 pit lanes. You go up through there, then 1 left, and then you go a little bit further, there's another left. That's how they used to pit them, believe it or not, here.
Wow.
I think an actual pit lane is better for here, but even still, maybe you'd rather have that 90-degree turn, because that pit entry is fierce, and you cannot overshoot it, or else there's a big barrel waiting in your favor.
Yeah, so we'll see if that becomes a problem tonight. I have a hunch that green flag pit stops will probably not be a common occurrence this evening.
No.
It's just been a challenge, but the other thing, it's probably pretty easy to get yourself up and over some of these walls. Not a lot of catch fencing around here either. But if you get up on top of that fence, we can see cars roll over tonight with the speeds that you're carrying. This is a pretty flat racetrack here, Connor, but you're not going very slowly at all. It's right on board with Alan Elwood. Well, he's coming to a stop. John Furness in the 28. The speeds that you're carrying mid-corner here are fast, almost New Hampshire-like speeds, 89 mid-corner, then throttling back up to north of 120, 130 on the backstretch, maybe even close to 140 off into turn 3.
We see wrecks big enough, we might see people in that pond in the middle of turn 4 under the pit lane. But yeah, definitely higher, a little bit comparable to New Hampshire. If the groove was high, but New Hampshire, you want to be sort of where Furnace is entering. That's a line we might see as well. Might see people enter in sort of that second groove and let the car drift high and then turn it back down. But that's really going to come down to if you have the room to do that. If you're all stacked up with a bunch of cars on your tail, you might get pressured putting it into a wall like Furnace. And you're going to have to be pressured to running that high line to just maintain your position. That high line is going to be key for passing probably, but you're really going to see a lot of drivers just defending and trying to hold their own.
Another thing I want to point out, this pit exit. Oh man, Connor, this is a really easy way to get yourself into trouble. Have a look at how tight that is when you're leaving pit lane. It'd be super easy to drop your right sides over that line and get yourself a penalty, so we'll have to follow that as well.
Yeah, definitely not a fun pit exit as well. It's not even something, he might have just messed it up there, but it's something that's not even just concerned if we get green flag pit stops, but even under yellow, you have to be careful. A lot of drivers might forget about how stingy and how strict that rule is, and I think some people might have to find out tonight, much as we kind of saw Cameron Hearn find out 2 weeks ago at Iowa how strict the restart rule is at Iowa. Pretty sure he was on the front row, just barely jumped it, and it took him completely out of contention. Don't have to worry about that tonight. Don't think that restart zone is in effect at this small track.
Yeah, it's going to be a real challenge, I think, on those restarts, though, because the outside lane is going to be the preferred place to be. And if you're in an odd-numbered position, you're going to be on that bottom and fighting hard to get any position. That apron down there, fair game, Connor, but is that enough down there, enough racetrack, enough grip to make that bottom line work on fresh tires on a restart when the outside is jammed up, or do you think you got to get up to the wall as quickly as possible?
Well, if you got fresh tires and the guys on the outside have worn tires, I think you have no choice but to try to go down there. That apron we might see used, but I don't think it'll be used for people trying to wrap the apron. Greg Mitchell hard hit, but you'll see people maybe diving down there and trying to perform some sort of slide job, because if they have the room to make it work, they're going to have to try it, because wrapping the bottom is just so difficult to do here at speed. And those tires, even as new as they might be compared to older tires late in the race, that's just going to be hard to beat.
Rob Ackley in the number 14. We've seen him be kind of up in the mix at times this season, running 10th right now in practice. And at the top of the board, it just continues to be the same names, different week. James Scioli, John Furness, Alan Elwood, David Weishart, Cameron Hearn, Shane Therian, Tommy Ryan, Travis Beckner, Chris Rabel, Rob Ackley. I mean, that 10 you could put at any racetrack so far this season, and it's parroting what we've already seen.
Yeah, and there's no signs of stopping. Even at the road course, we thought we would maybe see more change at the road course at Mid-Ohio, but we really didn't see that. It was a lot of the same players, just maybe a little bit more strung out, as you see Cameron Hearn trying to run a few more laps here. About a minute and a half to go before the end of qualifying. Hearn 5th, maybe about 400ths off the fastest time, and you can see he's still trying to hustle, get all he can out of that car. Diving to the middle line, letting it drift up a lane off the wall, might see that as well, but looking to see how he can rotate in traffic. Dirty air is going to be a factor here. He thinks lower speed's not going to be an issue. Well, it will be an issue, especially when you get jammed up like this with nowhere to go.
At some racetracks, you'll be able to get underneath somebody, but here you're fighting for the outside. You see the dive there into turn 3, but then what? Then you run out of banking, you slide up the hill, and then there's not anywhere to go. So Hearn struggling to get by that 98. That 98 car is Hunter Collier down in 23rd place on speed. So that's just a preview of how challenging it's going to be, and already Cameron testing out the chrome horn on that Chevy Camaro.
You can't really blame him. Oh, whoa! Look out, Hunter. Okay, that's gotta hurt, but you can't really blame Hearn. We're gonna have to see people try to get out the bumper. If you're stuck on the top lane and don't want to go to the bottom, or you're boxed in general, you might have to use that bumper. Maybe risk going 3 wide middle. You have to find some way to pass here if you can't do it on fresher tires.
Certainly a challenge all night long. We'll talk about it once we get into the race. Qualifying is up next. Fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You can earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise on Area iRacing's Twitch, twitch.tv/Area iRacing. All right, practice is complete now, heading into qualifying, and this is going to be an important night for qualification, I think. 160 laps, we're going to get a lot of yellows. Your passing opportunities are limited. I think the 2 laps that you run here are going to be some of the most important 2 laps you run all night.
Yeah, and it's important. If you can get on the front row, you have a great chance of being on the front row for the rest of the race. I think in a league I run Monday nights last winter, I started 2nd place, and I was able to get a good jump on the leader in the 88, and I was able to get the lead away from him in one lap. So even if you don't get the pole, if you qualify second, you have a chance to maybe take control of the race away and just run the top and maybe dominate up there. But you have to qualify well first. Like you said, this is going to be one of the most important tracks for track position. You start 30th, I can guarantee you, without strategy, you're not going to really find your way to the front easily.
Rob Ackley is working his way around through turn 2. Big lateral slide there for the 14. Off into turn 3, trying to carry some speed, maybe make up for a mistake. Wonder if this will be one of those tracks where lap 2 is the important one or lap 1 is the important one. We're going to find out. For Ackley on throttle out of turn 4, 22.849. I don't think that's going to put him pole. It will for now. He's the only one to lay down a time. Chris Rabel had an accident. Will reset back to the pits. As it looks like Ed Robertson will jump to the top of the 64. Looks like a new livery for Ed this week. Yes, no?
Believe so, yeah. Pretty sporty.
A new team for Ed Robertson as well with Elwood Designs. Has to be. I think he ran a Ford previously, if I recall correctly.
Fords just don't get enough love, do they?
No, looking at the makes and models, well, there's 4 of them in the top 7 right now, so not a bad start to the night. Greg Mitchell to the top of the board in the number 2. We'll see if he can improve on lap number 2. 22.666. That's 5 thousandths slower than his first lap, so he will not go faster.
I believe he tapped the wall. Excuse me. I believe he tapped the wall, so the lap wouldn't have counted either. But trying to see the Lemke, see what he can do. Hasn't had the best of luck this year. Hasn't ran too badly, but hasn't, like I said, hasn't really gotten the luck. Trying to see more drivers on track. There's Brian Chambliss, who's been a little bit surprising this year with some of the speed he showed. Led a lot at Iowa. As Chris Rabel just finished his run to the top of the board.
Yep, and he only ran that singular lap. He had another one before, but crashed out and didn't get to complete it. So that was his only timed lap, and it will take him to provisional pole. Dustin Lemke is reset back to the pits. Forrest Smith is on a flyer right now. Really tight out of turn 2, though, and fought that car all the way out of the corner.
We'll see if he can find anything. Not going to find anything in the wall, as he's going to keep it going. You'd usually stop and maybe just go for that one lap like Rabel did, but Forrest Smith's going to try to keep going and get something out of this lap. He's going to go to a bottom this time. You could see how much he's struggling to keep the car under and really sliding, trying to turn that thing as hard as he can.
Like Brian Chambliss up to 5th. Dawson Miller, big slide for Smith in turns 3 and 4 and does a tank slapper into the wall. Grinds to a halt. He will not get a lap in. Here's Malachi McGlashan in the number 74, getting his first lap. He might have touched it out of turn 4.
No,
he got 5th.
He used all he could, that's for sure.
Now out of turn 2 up onto the backstretch, big lateral slide. Wow. I love how much you put down the power here. These 700 horsepower Xfinity cars leaving tire marks on corner exit. It's fun to watch.
I was about to say same thing. The beauty of the Xfinity cars at work, he gets so close to that wall again. Just can't improve, a few hundredths slower, but still a great qualifying effort for the 74, who I think we've seen him in the top 15, top 20, but haven't seen that type of speed, although we do still have a number of drivers yet to qualify.
Most of them have not qualified yet. We have 14 on the board and another 20 or so that still need to put down laps. Matthew Cochran's going to give it a go. Tom Bourne's got a new livery this week, the Flat Out Racing Network car, wearing red, black, and gray this week, or a white. David Weishart heads out onto the racetrack. We talked about how his season, the results have not come co-requisite with the speed that he has had this season. So I'm excited to see if Weishart can start up front and stay up front.
Have to wait and see. I don't think it's been in question of him starting up front. It's just a matter of staying up front and getting a little bit of luck to go his way. A lot of times he tries to go off strategy and it bites him. Maybe it would be surprising to see it at IRP, but if he tries a different strategy, maybe he can go his way tonight. Maybe he can just outrace these guys.
Nice balance through turns 1 and 2. Gets back on throttle really early. Is just going to drive it in a slide. Big counter steer there, Connor, but it hasn't really been hurting people all that bad if they're controlling it well.
If you can slide and keep your foot in it, yeah, that's not going to hurt too much, but it's when you have to lift and really catch it is when it can hurt you. But Weishart's been in great control this lap. 22.661 is going to put him 3rd on the board, just behind Greg Mitchell. He's going to try to go again here.
Great first lap at a 22.662. About 600ths off of Chris Rabel. Doesn't need to pick up a lot. He's got some heat in the tire now. At a turn 4, we'll see if he can improve it. David Weishart trying to move up from row 2 into row 1. A 6.46. He will jump to 2nd.
Great second lap there. All the heavy hitters coming out now. Furness through 3 and 4. Hearns coming to complete his first lap just in the middle lane himself. So Furness will start his lap. Hearn trying to get a few good ones in here. 22.486.
Wow.
That's by far on pole by a whole 10th with a lap to go. And he didn't even have to try to slide it to the wall. He was really planted to the middle there.
James Scioli on his first lap now, throttling up down the back straightaway. Only multi-time winner this season, as I mentioned previously. Big slide up the hill in 3 and 4, though, Connor.
A little too big of a slide, I think. You kind of need to hang it out there with the way the track is, but that was a lot. But still went fast enough for third for now. Trying to see.
Bails out. Doesn't go another.
Yeah, he's just going to go for that one lap. John Furness, I believe he might have messed up his first lap, so he's going to have to go again. Let's see what he can do here. Also running middle in 3 and 4. Him and Hearn doing a sort of same strategy, really stretching it off of turn 4, and a 6.21 will put him now in third.
Solid lap by John Furness. Bumps down Scioli, and that's critical. But again, with the outside lane, maybe Scioli's where he wants to be up on the upper groove. Look at Shane Therian in a very pretty Simrap Market car. We'll talk about them a little bit later. That is a very shiny purple and blue car as Therian comes across the line to kick off his first lap.
Love the different lines you're seeing. Some drivers straight up middle, like Therian here, entered middle, drifted up way up high, and then exited middle. So we'll see if there's any science to these types of moves. That's a bit too high, and he's going to no choice but to hit the wall there. He's going to, like I thought he was going to do, he's going to bring it on down and try to regroup for one more flyer.
Travis Beckner is warming up the tires as we get a look at Alan Elwood at Simrap Market. That tire group running those logos has done a great job with their liveries this week. Bryce Senesac, by the way, up to 13th place on his first lap, and he's in the middle of lap 2 right now.
Rogue Energy Gaming drink Camaros. He's trying to go again here. Everyone's really struggling with the entry to 3. I think we've seen everyone slide it up there. He's going to come off a 4 with a head of steam, sliding the tires still, and had a little bit of a wall tap somewhere, so that will not count.
That's a bummer. It was a good lap. Tom Bourne rolled out on the track earlier, but decided to do it again later, so didn't actually put down a time and didn't start a lap, so this is lap number 1 right now. Again, they're just charging turn 3, and they're just kind of sliding up and letting the banking catch them, Connor, but it seems like that's the fast way to do it. It just is really scary to watch.
Shane Therian just put his second lap down here on 22.599. Now get him up to second, so great recovery after the mishap is Tom Bourne going around, trying to get a good lap in here, pick up a few tenths, 17th, definitely not where he wants to start. He enters high. I haven't seen anyone enter high. Kept it off the wall. He's going to turn it down hard to get the run off of 4. See where it puts him. No, that's not going to work.
Elwood jumps to second, and Travis Beckner up to 7th. Move 2 drivers into the top 10. That bumps Scioli and Weishart down to 8th and 9th as now Elwood just slides for style there. Tommy Ryan not quite on track yet. Jeff Ryan is at the moment, but just rolling out very slowly.
Tom Ryan just exited with Beverly. Neither of his laps are going to count. Actually, yes, his first lap did count, but it's well down the order.
Beckner picks up to 3rd, puts himself on row 2 at Collier Cutters number 7.
Yeah, it's been a good few days for him. I believe he won the truck race last night. I should remember because I was there, but I can't say 100%, but he was one of the faster ones last night for sure. Both of the Ryan guys are out there.
Jeff Ryan off into turn 3 now. This is his second lap, so that's all that's going to count for Jeff. Little tank slapper and comes across line at 22.762. Only to be good enough for 15th place. Tommy Ryan on lap number 1.
And no one else is on track, so he should be pretty much the last one to put any sort of time down here as he's going to drift up here on his second lap. Andrew Zanto, James Coey, Paul Irvin, Ricky Hard, Mike Tellier, Forrest Smith are the guys who are not going to be able to put a time down.
Yeah, 22.684 puts Tommy 13th for now and looks tentative, like he's not running full pace here on the second lap, so it looks like that's going to be it. So no more qualifiers. Looks like the bottom 6 or 7 will not put in times, and Cameron Hearn and Alan Elwood are your front row starters. We're going to go through your Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup here in just a couple of minutes. But some really interesting things, including your points leader starting down in 8th. He's got some work to do. John Furness will start technically in front of him, but to his inside. Another look at the playoff picture as we head into our 5th race of the season. And Connor, favorites on the night. I think you got to look at Scioli, obviously, but John Furness, he's due for one. I think it's his night.
I think Furness is due for one, but it's going to be tough to come from 7th. I wouldn't be surprised if I see Travis Beckner go for another win. I think he's really good at these types of tracks, so I'd say he would be my pick, but I honestly like the 38 where Shane Therian is at. I think he's always got good speed, and I think this is somewhere he can thrive.
So getting set for a 160-lap race here tonight. You are watching Sim TV. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Hort. Thanks for being with us tonight. Get prepped in just a few minutes for our Roasted Gems Coffee starting grid and our 160-lap race. In terms of the schedule and what is upcoming, you have this to look forward to. Next week, we are going to go racing at Atlanta Motor Speedway on November 17th. We have an off week for Thanksgiving on the 24th, followed by December 1st, kicking off December at Darlington with 130 laps rather. Then our All-Star Week is December 8th, an off week for this series. Then it's Bristol on December 15th, Charlotte for 130 laps on December 22nd, off for Christmas and New Year's, back at New Hampshire, Pocono, Talladega, before we kick off our playoffs at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course a little bit later in the year. Is that on the calendar? It sure is. Didn't know we were going road racing more than once, but I'm here for it.
Maybe it was previously as the Oval, but I don't think I've seen action at the new Indy Road Course yet.
Well, I just know that I really like that track in the real world. I just wish the drivers in the real world would behave a little better at it. So we'll see how it goes in the sim world. Often things get a little even more out of hand, so we'll see how that transitions into the sim environment. So in terms of past races here at this racetrack, there have been no previous area races at Indianapolis Raceway Park, but Alan Elwood won at Rockingham, Scioli at Iowa, and in terms of the tracks that we've been at that are most similar, I think you'd have to say that that Iowa is probably the most similar that we've gone to so far, but John Furness led the most laps there, finished 3rd at Rockingham, 2nd at Iowa, so maybe that 28 again is the one to watch, Connor, as we head down to the racetrack in just a moment.
It is definitely one to watch, but like we said, he got to qualify well, and he didn't qualify bad, but it's still, with how tough we expect it to be to pass, he's definitely got his work cut out for him.
Time for the Roasted Gems Coffee starting grid, and fans, be sure to visit Roasted Gems Coffee, excuse me, for some of the finest coffee from all over the world. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 10% off your order at roastedgems.com. All right, time to roll through the Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. Connor, row 1 is Cameron Hearn in the 67, and with Alan Elwood alongside him. Connor, row number 2, what you got?
Got Travis Beckner, Tuesday's winner at Gateway for the Truck Series. Beckner in 3rd, and right alongside him, I picked the win, Shane Therian in the 38.
All right, row number 3 is Chris Rabel in the number 29. He'll start alongside A.J. Roderick in the number 69. He rolls off 6th.
The bridesmaid, John Furness in the 28, hoping he can at least get some little luck to go his way, maybe compete for the win tonight. In 7th, Scioli, the multi-time winner, the only one this year. He rolls off alongside him in 8th.
In 9th place is David Weishart, the number 33. He is due for some better results in his season. Greg Mitchell starts 10th on the outside of row 5.
Great to see Brian Champs for speed at Iowa. He rolls off 11th. Rob Ackley, who's also had some good speed this year so far, he rolls off alongside him in 12th.
13th place will be Tommy Ryan, the number 99. Malachi McGlashan starts 14th in the number 74.
Ed Robertson, that new livery, he starts 15th, and the 37 to Jeff Ryan, 16th.
17th place is Michael Light in the number 26. Garrett Grant rolls off 18th in the number 5.
Rogue Energy Gaming Drink Machine, Bryce Senesac in the 09, and the 20th place, rounding at the top 20, Hunter Collier.
21st place is Tom Bourne, that new FRN network car, the number 16, starts 21st. Jeremy Rigney starts 22nd in the number 41.
Pierce Moffitt in the 44, one of the few Mustangs in the race tonight, and Justin Lemke in the 35, the 24th.
25th place is Logan Hartman in the number 10. Jacob Hudson starts 26th in the number 96.
Next row, 27th and 28th place, sharing that row will be Dawson Miller and Dwight Beverly.
Behind them, 28th is Matthew Cochran. Ricky Hardin starts 30th in the number 15.
Swerve and Paul Irvin in the 31st position in the Amp Energy 48, and Forrest Smith in the 84, who couldn't get a time down, will be alongside him.
Then 33rd is Andrew Santo in the number 13, alongside Mike Tallier in the number 47. In 34th, James Coey will roll off in 35th. No time for him either, all the way back there at the tail end of the field. One more pace lap before we turn them loose here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. You're watching Sim TV in the Area Lodgebox series here from IRP. There's the 1 to green, the lights are out on the safety car, and next time by, we're going racing here, Connor. Any predictions for the opening laps of this race? Do you think we get spread out and go racing, or do you think we have some early yellows to slow the progress?
I think we'll have some growing pains here. I don't think people are ready for how tough it is going to be to pass. Notable things, Ricky Harden starting going to pits, and Cameron Hearn, a smart decision. He's going to take the outside row to start this race out, which I think is smart, not even giving Elwood a chance to get a battle on from the outside, but we'll see what Elwood tries to do from the inside. 160
laps. If this race goes green from start to finish, it will take us approximately 1 hour. Very quick laps, 22 seconds in that range. Cameron Hearn in the number 67. And Alan Elwood starts side by side as we come out of turn number 4, going racing at IRP. Green flag flies, and we're racing in round 5 of the Area Lodgebox Series. Oh, car in the wall in the background. That's Scioli, the points leader, bounces off the fence. Furnace to the inside.
Weishar hit it as well as Furnace trying to get something. He's really still trapped down there, but he does at least have a hole if he wants to get in front of David Weishar as we complete lap 1 with really no issues.
First time off at turn number 4. A couple cars tank slap into the background, but we get through it all right. Some side-by-side here. The 41 of Jeremy Rigney. He's got the 09 of Bryce Senesac to his inside. Some other drivers door-to-door up the road. The 74, Malachi McGlashan, and Ed Robertson in the Elwood Design 64.
You're already starting to see the right front fenders get pushed in. Malachi, one of those drivers who have hit it already. You can see the damage around the right front fender. As you're going to see a lot of that all night. No shame in hitting it. Sometimes you just have no choice. Whoa, big slide.
Everybody already up in the middle of the high grooves.
Yellow.
There. Car around, and it's the 01 of Dwight Beverly, and it looks like the 48 of Paul Irvin. Horace Smith also involved.
That was happening, like it had to have happened pretty early on in the corner. Irvin, I think, was a casualty. I think it started with the 01. So we'll have to see.
A look. For one of Beverly's just up the road here. Blows up mid-corner, turns down the road. Does he get contact? Yes.
Yeah.
And then gets turned into the path of Forrest Smith. Not much he could have done there.
Like Beverly checked up and wanted to kind of turn down the track, and he was coming down the track, Zanto was coming up the track. They kind of came together. Yep. Just kind of racing at IRP sometimes.
Yeah, same section of road, 2 different race cars. That is never going to work. And those drivers already hitting pit lane for tires. Now, my assumption, Connor, is that I'm going to try to avoid pit road like the plague if I don't know for certain that everybody is coming, because track position is absolutely key tonight.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You have 4 sets at your disposal, so really not going to be taking them too often anyways, but with how hard it is to pass, I'm right with you for sure. If you don't think that absolutely everyone and their mother is going to take 4 fresh tires, I'm not coming down. I would not be surprised to see people take 2 tires from the mid pack to get that track position, because it's going to be vital.
Andrew Santo is going to get an end-of-line penalty for causing that collision, so it was ruled that 13 drifting up was a bigger deal than the 01 coming down. We'll start at the tail end of the field here on this next restart. So immediately we saw drivers drift up to that high lane, Connor. How do you do a bump and run when you do a bump and they end up in the fence?
You gotta, if they go into the fence, you better run. I don't know what else to really say about that, but if you're on the outside trying to bump them, if you bump them into the wall, you gotta kind of get down the track and then hopefully just run away from them. If they get a shot at your bumper, you're probably getting the same business back, and there's just nothing you can do about it. But on the top lane, it's hard to make it work. If they don't hit the wall, like I said, your best bet is still hit them, turn down the track, maybe into the apron just to get the straightest shot off the corner, and then maybe try to slide up right in front of them into the next corner. I think that's your best course of action.
Well, lights should be out on the safety car this time, but we're going to have to go one more. This will be one of those tracks that's got the extra caution lap, I think.
For Smith, he wrongfully got lapped, or he's getting a waiver. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, he's currently not 1 lap down.
Tail end.
Tail end, very tail end, yep. I would assume that he would get the wave around here when we get the 1 to green, and thankfully the track is short enough that shouldn't be too big of a deal.
Yeah, it's one of the drawbacks. If you get damage, you really don't have much time to really make damage repairs. A pace lap here is 48.465. That's what Cameron Hearn ran. So about just under 50 seconds. You don't have much time to repair what you got, and you can clearly see on the 84 knows he still has a long way to go.
The good news is for the 84, I don't know how much that damage is going to matter tonight. It should be all right.
Yeah,
I would think.
yeah, you can still use it. That's for sure. I think that bumper will still be used.
Oh, it'll get used until it's not there anymore. I know that.
No, then the bumper, the nose will still be used. Even if you don't have a bumper, you're going to be using it.
You'll use it till there's nothing left north of the firewall, I think.
Pretty much.
Cameron Hearn's your race leader, and these restarts certainly going to be interesting to watch. Hearn on the outside. He's got Shane Therian lined up behind him. Chris Rabel in that 29. And coming back to the restart zone, lap number 9 of 160, and the 67 fires off. He's gone.
Now it's going to be a battle for that second spot. Elwood's going to really send it in there, try to slide up in front of Therian. I don't think there'll be much challenge. He should have it. Good grip on the bottom there as they're 2x2 behind him. Carding the wall. That was Chris Rabel who slapped it.
Yeah, Rabel got into it just a little bit. We're going to see that a lot in the restarts. Look at the 33 of Weishart almost into the side of Furness as he battles for position.
He's trying to use up everyone else's left side just to get anything going on down there. And he's trying to follow the 7 of Scioli down there as well. He's made some ground up 2 spots so far. Hasn't completed that second spot. Rabel's still on the right rear, but 7's making it work so far, and he's got room to slide up if he wants to try it. Tense
moments here. If we can get 10, 15 laps into a run and get a little bit of spread, I think we'll be all right. But after these restarts, everybody's pushing really hard. The 33 big-time throttle and gets loose out of turn 4. Oh, car spin into the background. Jacob Hudson goes for a loop. And more trouble.
Everyone else. Oh, that's Collier in the wall.
And everybody's going to dodge it, I think. 96 was the one that brings out the yellow. Let's have a look at how that happened.
Let's see. He's racing with Logan Hartman. Hartman slides up the track. And 96, that was a hard hit to the right rear as well. Then, pretty self-explanatory there. And then Hunter Collier, I think he also had contact into turn 1 while that was transpiring. That's the 41, maybe a little bit of net code as well.
Yeah, 41 got into the back of him there. Jeremy Rigney turns him around. So second caution of the night at lap number 12. Now let's start racking up the counter here. This will be a fun one. The tracks like this, Connor, I think.
Fun one?
Well, fun one meaning the cautions are annoying until you get to like 15, and then you're like rooting for it to get higher and higher and higher because you're already committed to it being a caution race. So
you know what the SimTV record is? I don't remember.
24, I want to say. 22 or 24, so we're off to a good start. This race isn't that long. I think
whichever way you look at it.
The record was broken at Martinsville with like a 225 lap race, which is like a lot of laps. We don't have that many laps tonight, so mathematically it's going to be tricky to get there.
Yeah, I think those are the Outsiders Racing League days. One of those leagues.
I think it was a fuel race. Or no, maybe no. You're right. It wasn't an ORL race. You're right. The fuel had the previous record, and that was actually was either here or it was at USA Speedway that had the record.
I think it might have been here. If I had to guess, I don't remember them racing at USA, but
I definitely. That was. I don't think you were in the league at that point.
Probably not.
It was this was like early fuel, like 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Because remember, before fuel was the ISDC. I'm really bringing back the deep cuts tonight for those that have been around on SimTV for a while. If Ryan is, nope, not in pit lane. He's just come to a stop.
Huh.
Reset that he's got to do there. Control Alt Delete on something. There he goes.
Now he gets going. Even a battery died.
Up front, though, Cameron Hearn retains his spot, and this is the most precious spot in the field. Out front, start on the outside, get that jump, and Connor, you should be untouchable tonight, provided that you have at least some semblance of speed.
Yeah, you really, if you're the leader, you kind of have no excuse to keep the lead if you're starting from the outside. As long as you know to start from the outside, as Logan Hartman gets the EOL for that spin, no surprise there. But as long as you know how to get a launch on a restart, you really should have no issue retaining the lead, at least for the next few laps, because that guy on the inside, you really just don't know when to go. And unless you're perfectly guessing on when the leader goes, you're not going to get him.
So Cameron Hearn lines up on the outside again. The sun sets here in the distance at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Hearn on the outside, Elwood on the inside, and Shane Therian on the outside following Hearn. We're coming back to the zone. 67 is the man to watch here on this restart. Here we go out of turn number 4. And another good launch for the 67. And Therian to the outside of the 49.
Once again, nothing you really do. Elwood easily going to be able to slide up to that spot as he tries to wrap the bottom, and Beckner still tries to do something with the 38 there. Oh, someone hit the wall hard. More spinners. That's
Ackley.
Tommy Ryan.
Oh, Ackley, big time hit in the concrete there on the inside.
I think it started trying to avoid Tommy Ryan, who also hit it pretty good himself, but I think Ackley does get the worst of it. Now let's see this one. 14 on the bottom, 99 on the outside.
Yeah, it just gets in the wall again, and pow.
Oh.
Yeah, this is something I talked about at Gateway, is drivers, I think, have a responsibility to not bounce off the fence every lap, because it might not hurt you that bad, but when you bounce off and careen into somebody else, it can be a big deal. So got to make sure that just touching the fence, got to treat that the same as another competitor, because it will lead to a lot of heartache tonight.
As it did just there, that's going to be harsh damage for the 14. The 99 already without the rear clip, which at a short track we saw Kyle Busch at Bristol do once. It helps you, but I don't think you're going to get the same luck here.
14, unfortunately, not much did wrong there, and that car is already torn up.
Camaro does not look happy, that's for sure. 99 gets to EOL, not surprising. Jacob Hudson gets the lucky dog. He went a lap down repairing his damage, I believe.
Yeah,
and still everyone on the lead lap.
Yeah, I was going to say, that means that everybody is back on the lead lap again, and that's the other challenge with these short track races, Connor, is it takes a lot to get a car actually out of the race. So, all these accidents and incidents, everyone gets mad, and then they still have the car in the event, so it doesn't get any better.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Like you were talking about, if we could just get 10 laps through, get 10, 15 laps, everyone find their place in line where they're going to run for the majority. If we could just do that, we get some racing going on. But obviously still some kinks going on here. Drivers trying to go for the same piece of real estate.
See that 96 driving down the straightaway sideways?
I mean, he hit the inside wall really hard.
Watch this thing go down the straight.
Yeah, he hit that inside wall really hard when he got spun, so something's definitely broken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can see the wheel maybe like 25 degrees left. So definitely broken, but still running, that's for sure.
Still rolls.
Which is unfortunate because at least cosmetically it doesn't even look that bad, but clearly there was some internal damage.
Well, I think it shifted the rear end, right? I mean,
he
backed in with the right rear, and it'll just shift the whole rear end assembly over and make it kind of crab like that.
Yeah, he's still got repairs to make.
Yep. You can actually see it bent, the camber here in the rear.
Mm-hmm.
If he rolls around, if we can get a better look at it.
Yeah, it's not going to get much better from here. When it's bent, it's bent.
Yeah, you can see how much that camber is in. That wasn't even the side that hit the fence.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that he backed it in. He hit it really hard on one of the rear quarter panels. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough one to deal with, that's for sure.
So working lap number 20 of 160, and this time through it, connecting the lights off on the pace car. There they go.
Lights off on the pace car, the lights on the track turn on.
Yeah, it is going to be one of those lights on nights. Everyone, as Darrell Waltrip used to say, it's like turning the contrast up on your TV. It makes everything look a lot cooler, makes the intensity level rise. And in just a little while, the remnants of the sun in the sky will completely fade to black. We'll be racing under the shade of night as field works their way through turns 3 and 4. Hearn on the outside is your leader. And Beckner and Therian have swapped rows. This time the 27 gets the outside for the restart and back underway at lap number 22. Green flag back in the air.
Would really struggle to get off the line there. It's going to let Beckner be sort of even in the turn 1, but that 49 good wrapping the bottom through 1 and 2, but Beckner's going to fight back a little harder this time. He's still there.
Cars again, everybody just bouncing off the fence out of turn 2.
Someone just slammed the inside wall way at the back who stayed green. That was Dawson Miller, who slapped it pretty good, but once again staying green.
Elwood trying to hold off Beckner, who started in the row behind him, but on the outside. Can Elwood get there? Not quite now. I think he's cleared the 27. He will drop in front.
27 is going to take a look to the inside. Car sideways. Weishart bounces off it again as Beckner tried to take a look, but nothing doing there as everyone's still scrambling for whatever line they want here.
Yeah, Furness trying the bottom. I think he's going to learn that's not going to work so much, so he'll drop up following James Scioli, who has a little bit of right side damage from some early wall contact.
Well, who doesn't?
I know everybody does, I think, at this stage. A little wobble and a wiggle there. Kicking out the rear tires again. I think rear tire wear will be a big topic of discussion just because you're lighting them up leaving the corner as well, especially when they get worn. I think cars getting kind of plowy mid-corner and loose off will be a big challenge late in the run.
I think it depends. If you're really trying to rotate through the middle of the corner, that right front's going to be crying by the end of a full run. But if you're really trying to mash the throttle on exit, that's where you're going to really struggle with that right rear. So it really all depends on how you're running this joint.
Malachi McGlashan under fire from Tom Bourne. To the bottom, 16, again, just trying to take advantage of the inside because the outside is all nose to tail, and you can't just drive through each other, so you have to kind of stay in line and behave yourself until you can get a line to the outside. So Tom took advantage of that because Malachi had nowhere to go, and now Tom's going to slot himself in between the 74 and the 64 of Ed Robertson, who is up 3 spots from his starting spot of 15th.
Tom Bourne's one of the bigger movers. He's up 8 spots now. Behind him, Mike Tellier, who started 34th, he's up 15 spots with a little front end damage, but those guys getting through the field one way or another so far. As now we're getting to that point. Oh, as I say that, car in the grass entering turn 3, spinning it out. That's Rob Ackley with more troubles, as he might just bring it to pit road and might have to call it a day.
Yeah, again, if that's another rear end issue, it'll just make that car miserable to drive. But yeah, how about Tellier up from 34th to 19th? That's a great early climb. I think that will be an uncommon story tonight, I think, over the course of this race. Cameron Hearn.
A little bit.
Yeah, Cameron Hearn leads the way. Alan Elwood a little bit slower behind, so Hearn's setting the pace right now. And as the leader, you have a little bit more flexibility of where you can go, but if you're in traffic right now, you're stuck. You have to be defensive on that upper groove.
Yeah, there's not much you can do. If you have someone breathing down your neck, you have to run that top, or else they're going to get to you. No doubt about it. That's the ruling here. But this is what we're talking about. We get a few laps in. Everyone gets kind of spread out a little bit. We can get some good green flag racing, and we can see what this track's all about. We're finally getting to that stage here.
Yeah, and this is a fun track, too. I mean, this is one of my favorite places to watch. That truck race that we had here in real life a couple of months ago, that was a blast to watch, I thought. Again, it is single groove, but it's got that kind of old Bristol magic where you kind of have to get elbows out to get by each other. And because there's a wall to catch you, whoa, as the 38 slips up into the fence almost. Because there's a wall to catch you, you don't necessarily have to completely wreck a guy to get by him. You just push him into the wall, then as soon as he touches it, you just turn left and go underneath him.
Yeah, and that's kind of going to be a common way that these drivers might have to try to think of making that pass. So it's still early in the race. Obviously, we saw the yellows fly, but still a long way to go. We'll see what drivers try to do.
And the laps click off very quickly when you're green flag racing. That's the difference, right? I mean, again, if we go green from here, it's 49 minutes to the end. That's like we're halfway through another normal race, so they just go by fast. And so the cautions will slow the pace significantly, and we'll probably see that again towards the end of the race. But a couple cautions early, now we got in a groove going here.
How about Scioli? He made the bottom work. Now he's going to slide up in front of Rabel, but really made that move work on the bottom with not too much of a fight from Chris Rabel there. So you can see that 7 is pretty well hooked up, but even still, only up 3 spots.
Yeah, John Furness started 7th, running 7th, and qualified ahead of Scioli, but because of the way the restarts worked out, he's actually fallen behind him. To drop to the bottom here of Chris Rabel and just threw it down there, but not enough. And this is where that outside lane has some strength, but Furness getting a pretty solid run there, and he's going to maintain some overlap.
Rabel's just kind of struggling to do anything off the corner. I think that's why he's getting kind of bullied here by a few of these drivers, just even with that top line, struggling to get any drive off. And really not doing anything on entrance either, as that 28 just able to fire it off way faster. Rabel can't make it up anywhere else, so he just has to tuck back in and behind the 28.
Yeah, pass on the bottom. It's not going to be a super common occurrence tonight, I think, at least without someone putting the bumper to somebody. But John moves up a spot into 6th. That's going to pack in A.J. Roderick in the 69, David Weishart in the number 33, and Brian Chambliss also in the mix just behind these guys.
You see, and another thing about this track, it's pretty small, so lap traffic's not too far away. Rob Ackley and Jacob Hudson are obviously guys who are severely damaged, so it's no surprise there. But even Matthew Cochran is not too far ahead of these guys, and he's not really relatively damaged.
Cameron Hearn continues to set the pace up front. He's still the fastest car on the racetrack and extending his lead 1.2 seconds. And catching the 14 of Rob Ackley, which would be the first natural 1 lap down. He's actually already 3 down because of the incidents and spin we saw earlier on the restart.
He's catching Jacob Hudson, who's about to go back 1 lap down. As you can see, he is just really struggling with keeping the car straight. That's what happens when the car is bent out of shape. Best for him to just get out of the way of a leader here because he is struggling.
09, 41, and 47 all having a good scrap. That's Tellier, Rigney, and Senesac. Senesac in his green car on the bottom is going to try to slide up the hill, but he knows to kind of pinch it off and allow the 41 to have some room to rip. You can't stop mid-corner, Connor. Your tires can only do so much, and when they're steering at their limit, you cannot add brake. It's just going to make the car understeer. So it was smart moving there by Bryce to leave some space for the 41, because if you slide up in front of that driver, they are going to hit you or they're going to hit the wall.
Yeah, and they're going to be mad even if they do hit the wall or hit you. Even if they hit you, they're going to be mad. So, like you said, definitely smart driving. Just got to know your competitors here, as he's not going to have to leave that room as he's well clear of the 41. But now it's Mike Tellier's responsibility as he tries to go for his 16th made spot here on the 41.
Here's Maffitt in the 44 rather, to the outside of, I think that's the 48 car of Sorvin Irvin, who was in, I think, one of the first incidents of the night and is recovering nicely, almost back to the top 20.
Ooh, he really tried to pinch Jeff Ryan here. This is the real battle here. 21st on back under a blanket and really elbows out, as you can see the damage on really all these drivers' cars as they're already elbows out. Oh, car in the wall. Tommy Ryan just got walled by Justin Lemke, but they all keep it straight.
Back rolling again. Again, that's what I'm talking about. Because you're running up so close to the fence. Oh, the 44 gets turned.
Oh.
Maffitt didn't spin all the way around. Now he will go around off the nose of the 84, but he actually had that saved for a second.
I didn't think that was where it was going to be, but that was kind of 2 drivers going for the same piece of real estate again, I think.
Beverly on the inside. 44, does he move left just slightly there?
Yeah, definitely moved left a little bit. As yeah, he did kind of have it saved, and then I think that was don't know who 84. That was, 84, who had nowhere to go.
Interestingly, the caution came out before he spun, so he was already committed to going around. Wow, they really made contact there. So the caution came out here, and probably going to save it, and then gets tagged by the 84, who couldn't really do much.
Oh, look out, Lemke. Whew, that was close.
But on board with Forrest Smith, here's what that looked like. He was on the brakes.
Came down. Yeah, he was on the brakes. He couldn't do anything there. So hard to get checked up at a track like this.
Right on board with Lemke as well.
He'll get on the brakes big time here.
But again, you see him turn down the hill. Your tires are so limited in the grip that you have. Nicely done there by Lemke. Got a little bit of impact there on the left rear at the end, but 56 car Dawson Miller, by the way, has been disqualified. I think it was for missing a black flag and never served it. So that was what automatic disqualification. Now pit road was a busy place. A lot of drivers came on down. Are you surprised by that?
Kind of a little bit. I'm trying to see what the fall off was. 22.7 was Cameron Hearn's best time. He was maybe about 0.8 to a full second off of that time. So the fall off was there, but how hard it was to pass. If you're the leader, I think you have to pit, but those guys maybe 12th on back. I wouldn't be surprised if some people tried something.
Forrest Smith trying to lead a lap, and he has done it. We'll head into pit lane now. So Shane Therian up to second. Travis Beckner, Michael out to third. Like Hunter. Like, did he not pit? He has not pitted, and somehow he has only ended up 4th.
He drove through his stall. Not even. I think he might have missed his stall because he just rolled through pit road.
Well, we'll see how he fares on row number 2.
Funny thing about that was when the yellow came out, the leaders were out of 4, so it was kind of odd timing when they were trying to catch the pace car. So Cameron Hearn had like a 2-second gap coming down to his pit stall. So That's something to look for if we get more yellows after long runs coming into the pit road.
Yeah, and I think that's common at in the real world, at least, when there's lap cars that are kind of intermixed between the leader and other drivers, because they don't necessarily resort before the pit lane opens, and sometimes the leader will get a massive advantage coming on pit lane that only the worst pit crew in NASCAR could screw up. But yeah, lights are out on the pace car this time, and Cameron Hearn is going to jump up to the outside groove. No surprises. Shane Therian will go to the bottom as the caution has been extended here to resort everybody.
It's because the 96 was stopped on the apron letting people by. It's unfortunate for Jacob Hudson. He had a, I don't know if he put a time down. He did put a time down, qualified 26th, and just really never got a shot. And as we saw earlier, it's going to be a rough ride if he continues, because that car is not going to handle well being towed out like that.
44 has been given the EOL, so he was the driver on outside. Guess I can agree with that, as he turned in probably a little soon. Kind of aimed for the entry apex to the corner rather than the middle one, and caught Beverly off guard.
Yeah, definitely not a bad call there at all. It was just a bit too early to try to turn in. There's another driver on your inside. You got to honor that.
Yeah, my favorite rule, and while this might not be a popular stock car rule, or maybe not so much in stock cars, but in IndyCar or Formula One, if you've got overlap of any kind, you got to leave the driver space. The difference is how the driver gets there, right? If you are not side by side by the time you get to the braking zone, you probably shouldn't be there. And if you make contact with somebody's door, probably your fault. But again, that's a rule I've learned from the grid life world, which is very different than the realities of short track racing. Time to go back green. Working lap number 48 of 160, and back underway from IRP.
Got to keep an eye on that 98 on no tires here.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much of a difference this is going to make. We didn't have a super long run. I mean, 30 laps here. Well, you see him struggle mid-corner here. Well,
yeah, that's where it's going to really hurt him. Getting off the corners, trying to turn down. That's where those, at least even right side tires would help in that case.
And he's going to get swarmed here. The big slide by Furness out of turn 4. Otherwise, get through a lap. Hearn leads the way. Therian second. Beckner third. And back here, it's a hornet's nest.
Oh, yeah. It's a hornet's nest everywhere if you're not the leader of Cameron Hearn. As Greg Mitchell's the next one to take a crack at the 98 of Collier, as everyone trying to scramble to find a line where the 98 isn't, as everyone ahead of that battle with the 98 is kind of already sorted it out.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't expect that tire thing to be so drastic as McGlashan goes for a slide. He'll gather it back up. I didn't think that a 30-lap run would make that big of a difference on the tires. I mean, this is not 30 laps at Atlanta. It's 30 laps on a half-mile short track. But either way, it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And drivers are going to get frustrated. You can see the logjam behind him, and it's Garrett Grant trying to find a hole for everyone else to follow him through. As you can see, like I already said, just on exit is where it's really killing him. He doesn't lose too much on the entrance, but trying to get the throttle down, he just doesn't have the grip to do it. He's going to get the boot right there, and it's huge hit.
Big crash for the 26 of Michael Light, but it's going to bring in some more drivers piling in at the exit of turn 2.
Tommy Ryan almost got flipped. He got driven backwards into by Michael Light, who was really the innocent guy in that.
Wow.
That all started with one driver on old tires. Tellier gave the bumper to Collier, and he got turned sideways in the checkup. And then Jeff Ryan and someone else piled in there. And then Light trying to get away from it. Tommy Ryan had nowhere to go.
Better look at it. Yeah, the 47 checks up here. Right there, gets into the back of the 98, checks up, gets hit from the 41, and then, that was a big hit. Right here, Tommy Ryan. Man, that stinks for Tommy.
I don't know if that was Light frustrated, but can't do that, that's for sure.
I think he was just trying to get out of the way, but the best way to get out of the way is to not try to get out of the way.
Yeah, that's for sure. As you can see, here comes Tommy Ryan. He's already checked up for it. He's stopping, and it's just the car coming right at him. That's just, I don't think I've ever seen that.
That'd be a new one for me, I think.
I think Light might have had internet issues too, because he drove through people as well.
Look at the 44 locked up trying to miss. That was a horrific crash. Watch the 44.
That would have been horrific. Yeah.
Watch the 44 here. Try to get this thing lowered down.
I think the EOL helped him in this case from the last yellow to get him out of this.
Yeah, there's the stack up here. He can't see it yet. Now he does. He slams the brakes, turns it down, locks it up.
Look out.
Nicely done, Pierce.
Saved Matthew Cochran's life, that's for sure.
Yeah, and just for reference, you know, we're looking left, but he can't see that far up the road. Right here. Oh, crap. Turn down. Lock it up.
Why are people slowing? Oh, that's why.
And from on board, Matthew Cochran's car.
Not what you want to see here. Oh, jeez. That was close.
All right, so caution out for, I think this is number 5 of the night.
Michael Light got a warning for that incident with Tommy Ryan at the very end of it. Not too surprising.
Yeah, I mean, crash already happened, so the damage was done, but don't make it worse. I don't think it was intentional. I don't think he meant to drive into the nose of the 99, but...
No, it was just a combination of frustration of being involved in a wreck and knowing your day's probably done, and also just trying to fire it out of there because you're frustrated.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, turning sideways wouldn't do much for you either. It's best just to lock the brakes down and do your best to not move, because a not moving car is predictable. One that is moving in any direction that's not forward is definitely not predictable.
That's for sure. And Dawson Miller, you said he got DQ'd, so he was the first actual retirement, the first non-DQ related retirement. Rob Ackley's finally called it quits, as that leaves 33 drivers on track.
Yeah, no one listed at fault for that one racing incident. To stack up one of those accordion effect things.
And you're always going to get that with one driver on old tires and almost the rest of the field on new tires. That's kind of inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this a couple of times in the real world too. I think Austin Dillon did it a couple of years ago, where he took a 2-tire call at a track with a ton of wear, and it just makes a mess of it. I don't think in Hunter's case it was really intentional. He just missed the box and said, you know what, screw it, let's give it a go. I don't think he actually came out of that all that bad, because the wreck was behind him.
Yeah, he's got fresher tires now.
Pro gamer strats, you know?
Yeah.
All right, restart time. Hearn again, the leader. He's led every lap so far. Well, every lap but one. And back underway from IRP. Clean restart for the 67. He fires off, and the rest of the field get it done behind him.
At this rate, no. He's been the class of the field. But we'll have to see here. See if one driver can rise above the rest to make something happen. Therian got the second. Hasn't been able to do much yet, as we'll have to see what happens. 33 way high, but he makes it work.
He was charged it in there. Almost got up into the fence. Got Chris Rabel behind him. And Brian Chambliss in the 25. He started this race in 11th. He's up one spot in theory, but he might lose that to the 16 if he stays on the bottom too much longer.
But he gets good drive off of turn 2 to maybe have a shot at clearing Greg Mitchell. He has room in front of him to try it. He is going to maybe try a run at it, but can't make it work. But look at the drive off of 4 this time. He has him clear no problem.
And it is a busy racetrack out there at IRP, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, there's no lack of action with everyone trying to do what they can.
Whoa.
Even the guys who
29 bounced off the fence in a shower of sparks sent everywhere.
That was close here. Rabel's kind of one of the few that have seen really fall back. He's from 5th to 8th and looking to fall another if Chambliss can get there. So one of the few that's struggling to not just not go anywhere, but really struggling to keep any track position.
16 up the hill, trying to get a decent run here to get to the outside of the 69 of A.J. Roderick as the battle for second is underway, and Alan Elwood throws it down to the inside, and he's clear of Shane Therian, who's got some right side damage now to boot.
He might have hit it entering there. I saw it late.
Furness, wow, drives around the outside of the 27. This is a fierce fight.
Vector's kind of on the defensive, or at least doing anything he can to try to stay where he is. I bet they both want to crack at the 38 because they kind of see him weak there after getting past seemingly easily, but they're not going to really get by him fighting like this. 27's using up all the room he can under Furness.
Good drive in there by Scioli to get to the outside. Mid-corner, though, you're going to lose that momentum, and he has to throttle back up and keep this spot in the 27 slot in between. He's clear. Not quite.
Bit too risky to try that. Scioli still trying to make time up. He got those 2 spots and hasn't moved since, but has a prime opportunity at it, but I think Vector definitely has the room this time. Scioli's just going to have to wait for another shot.
see how much lateral motion the cars have in the corner.
Oh,
16 in the background, almost bounces off the side of Ed Robertson. That's for 12th.
almost off of Greg Mitchell there. Mitchell's kind of struggling on the top line himself, but he's able to power down this time. He's back one spot from where he started.
Under 100 laps to go. Again, things go by quick here under green. Deeper in the field, Michael Leip, Jeremy Rigney, both these cars have seen big impacts tonight.
Yeah, they're not even the highest running modifieds, as that would go to 84 Forrest Smith, who's in the top 20 actually.
Top 20 with a car that looks like this. That is,
I mean, other than the front bumper, it doesn't look too bad.
being resourceful with what you got.
Just not, extra weight off the car. It's all good.
Furness has a little bit of pressure from Beckner behind. David Weishart, though, we talked about how he hasn't gotten the finishes that his runs deserve tonight. He's kind of running basically where he is in the championship, a little bit higher. I think he's got more pace, though. Right now, it's not completely unlocked, but I give this guy a little track position, and I think he'll be right up in the mix. The fastest car all night, though, has been Cameron Hearn, and nothing has changed there, as we got a caution and a crash on the front straightaway, and it's 3 or 4 cars torn up.
Oh, another one. Oh, and another one. They're still piling in. That was Jeff Ryan again, but that looked like it started with maybe Paul Irvin and Dwight Beverly. We have to see here. Santos there. There's Forrest Smith. Oh, Forrest Smith kind of cleared himself there. Oh,
Beverly bounced off and back into traffic. Irvin was just a victim.
Let's see this. 13 slow on the top lane. 84 is going to fire it in. 13 in the wall. Gets sideways. And 13 still up there. And
84 just drives up the hill, yeah.
Yeah, he just ran the 13 out of room when he was still there. Gosh, poor Paul Irvin. He really didn't deserve that. Zanto definitely didn't either.
I think that summarizes a lot of Paul Irvin's area career.
Well, it sums up his night. He didn't even make it 2 laps. He was involved in the first incident, and look at his car just come out of nowhere.
Well,
I bet he thought he had it cleared.
He did. He throttled back up, too. He thought he got through it, put the throttle pedal back to the floor to get through, and then here comes the 0-1 spearing off the fence.
That's just...
He can't see it. The 0-1's out of his view, and then right there, bam.
Out of nowhere, yeah. That's just so unlucky. And then Zanto, and here comes a few other drivers. Jeff Ryan, and could not see where the other
Someone just came to a stop. That was the 4 of Cochran, just came to a complete stop. Try to avoid any dramas.
Yeah, short track, it might be thinking you're losing spots, but the best thing you can do. Just don't get yourself involved at all costs. 84 definitely getting the UL for that, I think.
About 11 laps away from our halfway point here.
Ooh, did Cameron Hearn pit?
Oh, he did.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting. That's a lot of track position to lose.
Where did he end up? All the way down in 18th place. Now, why would he have done that?
I guess he thought it was a long enough run on the tires.
Maybe his goal here is just not to pit for the rest of the night.
But depending on how this race goes, he might not be pitting the rest of the night anyways. I'm trying to see who came with him. Travis Beckner came in with him. I think Weishart as well.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
Yeah, I guess the only strategy I can really think of is we've had a couple decent runs now. You've used up a little bit of tire, so you're going to have a tire advantage over everybody else. And they're probably going to want to come again, the guys that didn't pit later. So you're just going to stay out and then use the track position late. So I kind of understand it, making the track position loss now to get an advantage that will likely last until the rest of the field pits, at which point the tires aren't going to matter because you're going to have the track position you need to outlast the last couple yellows, which we could presume that this will go into some kind of yellow shootout towards the end of the race where it'll be green, white, checkered, and that sort of deal. Right?
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I would say that's maybe what he's thinking. It seems like a big risk, especially where we've seen the incidents that he's kind of going to be running around where these incidents have taken place.
I think strategically it's a good thought. The challenge is it puts you right in the danger zone, right? I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
I don't hate it from a strategy perspective in terms of where you're going to end up, presuming that you don't get caught up in a collision along the way.
Race control come over to radio to say to lock it down when you're trying to avoid a wreck, which is not surprising, but yeah. In my opinion, it's not good because it's going to go one of two ways. We're going to get yellow after yellow to the point where the leaders aren't going to think of pitting again, or we're going to get a green flag run and not go to the end, and then you're going to just have to take your tires anyways, essentially just putting it down a set of tires. So we'll have to wait and see here, but doesn't matter. We're going green here, and up in the front, finally the leader's taking the bottom.
Well, that's an interesting. Well, I don't actually know if it matters as the leader what line you take. You're going to get a good enough launch anywhere you go. But Elwood, Therian, Furness, Scioli, Rabel, your top 5, working lap number 73, 8 laps away from halfway. Green flag back in the air. Area Lodgebox Series round 5. Furness and Elwood are going to lean on each other.
Oh, they're still leaning on each other.
Banging doors down the backstretch into turn 3.
And he wants to get up there and door him as much as he can because he doesn't want to give Scioli a chance. They're still leaning on each other.
Cars bouncing off each other in the background as well. The 47 is in the middle of all that.
7's in the wall. Hit it pretty good that time.
Oh, this is not going to end well. You can't tell me this is going to work out. 3 abreast out of turn 2. The 67's in the middle, but he bounces off the 47.
And that's why I don't want to be back there, because you put yourselves in these risky spots, but at least he's doing the best he can do, just staying out of it all by just running the apron, basically. Him, Weishart, and Beckner, all with the same strategies, staying off that hornet's nest near the wall.
Still 3 wide behind the 67, the driver that led the most laps in this race so far. Look at the 33 and the 27 following each other on the rim on the bottom of the racetrack.
And Hearn's definitely made up the most time. He cleared Tellier there.
Little boot from the 27 to the 33, gave him a shot.
Immediately says Star on your radio. Definitely don't want to be doing that. You're kind of in it together on the same strategy. Don't really want to mess each other up. They'll just leave bad feelings between y'all, and you'll probably have to race later in the race, and you don't want that on your hands.
This is teamwork for those guys right now. They're kind of trying to achieve the same common goal. I don't definitely, obviously, Travis didn't mean that intentionally, and probably just wants to get out of this situation, but this is the bed that they made, and they got to lay in it now. The 64 out of the fence. The 33 goes for a slide.
And that was a huge slide, a huge slave, but that's really going to hurt what he's trying to do here, losing all that track position.
Oh, we're just ahead of them. The 10 car is about to get in the middle of a really bad scenario on the inside of the 41. Bails out.
Whew, this is exactly what you don't want to see, but they're making it work so far. Like, once again, just get a few more laps, get spread out. Might see something here. Cameron Hearn already up to the 9th position and looking for more. Meanwhile, he's 3-4 positions ahead of Beckner. He's making ground up better than any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the call. He's just got to stay out of trouble, and so far he's done a very good job of doing that. He's probably out of the danger zone for the most part now. He's just working on guys that are only a couple rows behind him as he sneaks to the inside of Chambliss out of turn 4.
It's definitely making a difference, making it work so far. That was 2 positions, 1 lap, as AJ Roderick not too far up there as well, as Alan Elwood's gotten clean away for the race lead as Furness and Scioli are now kind of locked bumper to bumper.
And Weishart's in a bad spot here still.
Oh yeah, now he's kind of thrown the whole bottom thing out the window. He's just gonna go to the top and try to just find where they ain't, but like you said, putting yourself at big risk here as Beckner's kind of in the middle of all this. He's kind of not on the same pace as a 67, but still making good, solid, clean ground.
Yeah, and behind the 5 of Garrett Grant, who cracks the top 10 for the first time tonight. And halfway here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, Alan Elwood is your leader. Furness, Scioli, Therian, and Hearn. The rest of the top 5, Garrett Grant, Tom Bourne. And look at this, 3 abreast on the bottom. The 27 rather goes for a run. He's going to get one of them. Can he get both?
Oh, he don't even think he got both of them there, but kind of forcing Tom Bourne to get himself out of that battle, trying to run the bottom there, 3 wide. There's enough room for it car-wise, but getting off the corner, it's another story. Zanto just got the boot. He is having a rough time tonight.
Beckner still trying to make that bottom work. Even with much fresher tires, it is still a chore. But he's got the 16 in the mirror now and now focuses on the 5.
Cameron Hearn, I don't know when that happened. Last I saw he was 7th, and now he's in the 4th position.
So. Where did he come from?
He is on a tear. Those new tires are meaning a lot more than I thought. He's half a second faster than the leaders. But now he's got a little bit more ground before he gets to the top 3. Those 3 got away. I didn't even notice that, but they're 4 seconds ahead of the next guy in line on their strategy, Shane Therian.
Alan Elwood is just absolutely dominating right now. John Furness right behind. He's got James Scioli in 3rd. Not too far in the distance, and then it's Cameron Hearn 2 seconds back from that.
I think even if you're Hearn here, you want this to go green, because at this point, if you get a yellow, those three are probably going to pit, and you're only going to have 2 other drivers on your strategy, and you're probably going to be the one going backwards. So
watch this.
If I'm him, I'd want this to go green.
Down the back straightaway at lap 81, and Cameron Hearn went for a wild slide and came back up. Did he pass the 38
He
doing
did
that?
make the
oh
pass.
My gosh.
I heard someone on the radio say, Chambliss said, I don't know how you did that and still made the pass. If I saw that at first, I would have been hollering. They made contact. He drifted to the bottom through the grass, and he still had room to pull the pass off. That's a literal slide jump. That's the anti-Ross Chastain. I can't believe that.
Cameron McQueen Hearn jumps up to 4th place. That's how we got it. Go back to the 27 and 69. That is probably one of the wildest moves I've seen accidentally pulled off in a long time.
It's another first. We've seen a few things I've never seen tonight. I can't believe that, but I guess that's probably why he's not catching the leaders as fast, because those tires need to cool down.
Beckner working over Shane Therian in the 38 on the bottom. Therian looks like he's struggling a little bit. Of course, Beckner's got fresher tires, and he's going to use them to his advantage as the 84 comes out of pit lane.
10 car got a warning for wall riding. That's not uncommon to see here, as they're really battling hard in the midfield here. I think that's Ed Robertson a part of it. It's Tom Board going a lap down, or at least another lap down. As you can see, Weishart still struggling. I think the other guys on new tires, they got by Mike Tellier so long ago, but that slide has put him so far behind.
Yeah, this is all about just behind 14th and 15th place. Mix of lap cars and lead lap cars. A lot of 3 wide, but they've sorted it now. We're getting a pretty decent green flag run in here. This makes me really like this 67 strategy even more, because of course the 49 is going to want to come to pit lane next time. But even then, even if Cameron doesn't gain any more spots and we get another late race caution, he could come down pit lane and really have not lost a lot. You know, he's kind of banked on a couple different strategies, and they all might work.
We'll have to wait and see here. Driver check got disabled. Not many people are happy, but that's a short track. It happens. But one person that would be happy to see this green once again is Cameron Hearn. Just trying to fend off all the strategies and just make his strategy the winning strategy. So we'll have to wait and see.
Ed Robertson in the 64 to the outside of the 09 is Senesac. 13 is Santo that is on the lead lap and up into 20th place. He's had a tough night, but persevering.
And the 13's really kind of gotten the short end of a stick a few times. On the verge of being on the short end of it again, as things are getting scrappy right in front of him. Senesac and Glashin side by side. These guys trying to battle it out. Battle of the modifies behind him. That's Smith and Rigney for not even for position. That's Forrest Smith, who's gone 18 down after his latest incident.
Mike Tellier up to 14th place. Was 34th at the start of this thing. He's made up 20 spots. That's pretty unbelievable. As he almost bangs doors with the 98, and that was almost about to be disaster.
Yeah, that was extremely close.
Oh, the 74 spins McGlashan around.
Senesac barely hit him. Yellow comes out, and this changes things for the guys who pit and the guys who didn't.
Yeah, we're getting closer to the end of this race, and he was behind the 64, and the 09 of Senesac just turned him around.
Yeah, I immediately said it was his fault, which it was. Just got in there a little bit too hot. Glashin's still not able to get it back going. Finally gets it back going as 09 just wasn't ready for the checkup. That's what we were talking about. When everyone's riding the top, that's bound to happen.
You also just, as I mentioned before, you just can't stop. When you're turning and you're at the limit of grip.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Hearn almost hit the barrels. Excuse me. I apologize.
No, you're
Go
fine.
ahead.
I was just going to say, you just can't stop. You're turning at the limit of adhesion. Your tires only have so much grip to give in any given direction. The 67 has a weird fetish for the grass over there in 3 and 4.
That was Kurt Busch from 04. I guess that can happen too, as he's really loving that grass.
This equalizes everybody strategy-wise now, and I think 65 laps to go. If we get another, if we get a 30-lap run, you're going to pit again. I don't think we're going to get that, though, personally. I think this is the stage where everyone knows it's coming down to it. Look at this battle off pit lane. 27 and 6. Actually, that was a big-time pit stop for the 27 to Beckner. And a 14.1 second stop compared to Cameron's 15.4. That will get Beckner ahead of the 67. That was a pretty crucial pass.
That's really bad for Hearn because everyone's on the same strategy now. You're down a set of tires and you lost 3 spots. That's really surprising. I guess that happens when you almost hit the barrels on pit road. That's going to be tough to come back from. That's what I was afraid of, though. If it didn't go green and he didn't get to the lead in time, that could happen.
Well, Ricky Harden, for whatever reason, doesn't want to pop up on the graphic, but he has not come to pit lane. He's 53 laps on tires. Stay out by the appearance of it.
Going to deny Forrest Smith lucky dog. More importantly, denies Rigney the wave around. Rigney's going to have to pit. No choice. That's supposed to get interesting if Harden does not come to pit lane. He started from the pits, by the way, so at least it's good to start from the pits. He can lead some laps. Why not?
Oh, that's why he's not showing up graphics.
Yeah.
I was wondering what was causing that bug. You brought that up, and now that solves that problem. I mean, it doesn't solve the problem. I just know where the problem lies.
You know where the problem is. The problem is still very unsolved.
You're watching the Area Lodgebox series from IRP round 5 of the season. Kyle Heyer joining you alongside Connor Horn tonight. 96 laps complete of 160. It has been a wild one. Interesting first part of the race. We had a rash of cautions and then some green flag racing interspliced with a couple more yellows from there. So far this race, we've had 96 laps complete. 30 of those have been under yellow with 7 cautions, 65 laps remaining, 3 leaders and 4 lead changes. Most of those leaders have been Alan Elwood and Cameron Hearn. Hearn, though, trying a different strategy, back to 7th place now in that number 67 for the restart, which will happen here shortly. And Ricky Harden on 52-lap-old tires is going to restart this race out front. And Connor, I just see that as lighting the fuse on a TNT block right there.
Well, the only 2 other leaders we saw were the 98, whose slowness caused an incident. And then we have Ricky Harden, who, differently than the 98, he's on the inside, so that's going to be even tougher for everyone down there trying to get under him. He might be in the middle stuck, and this could get bad.
All right, lap number 98 of 160. Getting down to the last 30 miles or so of this race as we roll out at turn number 4. The 15 on the inside is your leader. Green flag back in the air. Nevin is going to split him 3 wide here mid-corner. He's going to have to do that if he doesn't want to lose ground, and he will. Nicely done.
Someone bounced off the wall. That was Roger who bounced off the walls. Harden to the bottom. Big slide there from Rabel as everyone's able to pinch the 15 to the apron pretty much, and they can all get around him.
Well, they can if they were behaving. We'll see how many more drivers can get by. He's actually doing a really good job of sticking to the bottom and staying out of the way the best he can. A little confusing back here as a couple drivers shift and shuffle. Scioli working over David Weishart, and these two have found their way towards the front. And Weishart, that caution, I think, saved his race. He's able to get back to where he was, actually a little further north of it, as we watch this gaggle into turn 1.
Doesn't seem like he has the grip to get out of a corner like Scioli does, as the 7's probably been the best on the bottom.
Oh, spin to 16, Tom Bourne.
No yellow yet. He's off the track. We'll have to see here. Still not going to get it going. No one behind him now. Should stay green here. Don't know what caused that, but unfortunate for him.
Go back and see. Entering turn 1 here.
On his own. Already passed Ricky Harden.
And his throttle up.
Yep.
Scioli.
Oh, Harden sliding through 3. Moffitt hits him.
Oh,
Big stack
there they
up.
go.
There
Yep.
they go.
Oh, the 15 almost upside down.
Oh, and now it took out a lot. McGlashan, Forrest Smith again.
41 and 09 are caught up in this as well.
Senesac was just in the last yellow as well. They're still struggling to get back going. Moffitt just couldn't save it, and they just stacked up big even behind that. Michael Leip, Rigney involved. Hartman gets through.
Now Rigney, I think, was kind of all on his own here. Drives into the corner behind the 84, can't see anything, and oh, look at the
my God,
difference in speed there. Senesac's view, I think, is going to tell the story.
It's happened a few times. Just surprised that's happened again, but yeah, the U09, he sees it, checks up. Really nothing he can do past that, and yeah, there comes the 41 just out of nowhere there.
That was a big pile up there, and now we begin the counting laps down and trying to figure out how you plan these restarts to gain ground, knowing that everyone else feels the desperation. Cameron Hearn, this is where that strategy, I think, is going to hurt him, is he has not yet gotten the lead back. Now, here's the good news. He's going to restart on the outside lane, but he's going to have to fight Furness and Weishart pretty hard to get by and then go figure out how to get by Elwood. So it doesn't get easier for Cameron Hearn, and he had the easy button all night long and would probably still be leading this race had he been out front the whole time. So maybe regrets, maybe not. We'll see.
We'll have to wait and see, but I am surprised and pretty impressed that he was able to get up to 4th from restarting 7th on the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's a really good job for him.
He's been the fastest car tonight by a long shot in clean air.
Yeah, no doubt. But we've seen fresh tires, clean air, you're pretty much gone. Not anything against Cameron Hearn, but Alan Elwood was able to pull away as well.
Well, I guess I should correct myself. I think Cameron Hearn, I thought was the fastest car, but the fastest lap actually belongs to current leader Alan Elwood by 8 thousandths of a second, 22.701 to a 22.709. So Elwood's technically a little faster, but I think we saw the 67 get a pretty natural, massive lead. So did the 49. Let's not take away too much from him. He's led 33. Hearn has led 66. So basically, they've led 100 of 105.
Yeah, and the only other time anyone else led was on pit strategy. So we have to wait and see here. I think Hearn is fast enough to maybe get by with 33 and 28, but it's what I want to see. I want to see Elwood versus Hearn to begin here, because those two seem to be so even on speed. When they get to the lead, they can drive away, but we'll have to see what Hearn can do from behind. He's going to have to do something to get by that 49 because they're so even.
So working lap 106, we're going to get a restart on lap number 108, I believe. That will leave us with just about 50 laps to go. Predictions on who takes this? I still think that 67. I guess Scioli at the beginning of the night. I think I am going to switch to the 67. I just like that he's led a bunch of laps. I like that he's climbing up the field. I like that he's got great car control. And he continues to be one of the fastest cars on the road.
Well, I picked Therian. He was top 5. He dropped back to 14th when I didn't really see why. He must have had a bad pit cycle, but
yeah, 27-second stop in pit lane is what did that.
Must have missed a stall or something, but I think I'll have to switch to the 49. It could go over to 67. I haven't really seen the race winning speed from the 28 and 33, and I think they're in a race winner sandwich right now between Elwood and Hearn. Yeah, I think a dark horse would be Scioli. He's been really good on the bottom. That could come in handy.
It sure could. I agree with you on the 28. He's been up front all night long. It just hasn't really seemed like he's got enough to do much with his track position up towards the front.
Whatever happens tonight, Cameron Hearn is the move of the race, that's for sure, but can he get the race win?
Yeah, there was big praise for that one. Maybe partially self-inflicted, but it was still cool to watch.
Still made the pass.
Still made the pass. All right, lap 108 of 160. Good launch by the 49. We're back racing at IRP.
Wait for Hearn on the outside of Furness here. Furness is going to send it to the inside, just shut the door on Cameron Hearn.
Crossover by the 67, though. Oh, he's going to turn him! No. Oh, he saved it. Great job there by Furness. That was almost catastrophic, and Cameron will take the spot.
Yeah, it seems like Furness at the end of these races sometimes is just a punching bag, just getting moved out of the way. Whether it's Scioli or Hearn, he just can't stop getting moved out of the way.
Well, that was about as much as you can move a guy without crashing him, so good credit to the 67. Didn't wreck him. Just got him a little loose, and the 28 did a good job saving it, but man, that was really well executed by the 67. Track position's hard, Connor. Any way you can get it is fair game tonight as long as you're not fully dumping somebody.
Oh, slider. Greg Mitchell got moved. I think Therian, the 38, sent him. They're almost 4 wide off of turn 4. That's barely
right there, that ain't going to work.
Yeah,
oh, the 38 gets turned across the road.
Look out behind. Everyone gets through this time.
That was a long one coming. We saw that from a mile away.
Yeah, we did. That was really not looking good. Nearly 4 wide. I think you could technically call him 4 wide, and the 47 just got way too tight. 98 into the 38 chain reaction. Until finally got through one.
This isn't a sustainable line down there on the bottom. Oh, you see the 2 get knocked into by the 38. The 47 turns down here. This is not a sustainable trajectory at this stage, right? No. You can't stay full throttle here. And the 98, now he doesn't come down at all. The 47 drifts up.
If he was clear, it would have been fine. You can make that, but you have to be respectable. You have to respect the car on the outside, and he didn't do that. The poor 98, just literally nothing he could do, and then that chain reaction, it sets off. 98 can only go into the right rear of a 38, and then it's just hope you avoid them. Dead middle of a track, Zanto and everyone else does a good job.
I have to give the Darian credit as well to lock up the brakes and then let the car roll
Ooh.
again to gain steering input back to get it straightened out. That takes a lot of skill. I always say it takes a lot of skill to crash right. And this is one of those instances here because as soon as he gets turned to the right, he locks the brakes, and then to spin the car back straight again, unlocks the brakes, turns the wheel, and straightens back out. Textbook save there by Shane Therian. Great job.
Yeah, you can't teach that. That's just something you have the instinct for, and he's one of these drivers in this series that definitely has the instinct to do that type of stuff. We've seen it already tonight, and another good, good driving effort there.
And it's something that you think over time, when you crash, you figure out what works and what doesn't. And for example, if you're tight or I should say loose coming out of a corner and you're spinning down towards the inside wall, if you lock it down, your rotation will stop. To get rotation back, to get steering control back, you have to unlock the tires, but only after you arrest that momentum. So exactly what we saw at the 38. You lock the brakes, get the forward momentum arrested while you're sliding, and then you unlock the brakes, turn the wheel, throttle up, change gear, whatever you got to do. And there's the old racing adage, when you spin 2 feet in, keep the car from stalling.
Yeah, just once again, can't say enough how good that was. And unfortunate for him, I assume he missed his stall. Don't know if he missed his stall, but the slow pit stop, whether he likes it or not, put him back there as he's going to get some fresh tires, which I think he deserves, also just sitting there. Maybe he's just trying to collect his thoughts as we look at the point standings. Still looking at Furness and Fambro up there. I think I just realized Colin Fambro isn't here tonight. I don't know why
he's been
that long.
Very quiet, right? Where is he?
Yeah, I literally don't think he's here tonight.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I hadn't seen him yet.
Yeah, it took me too long to realize that, and I apologize. But those guys up there, good in points. Furness is continuing to just lengthen that points gap to the cut line, but even still just trying to find that higher step to the top step of the podium.
So when we restart now, we're going to be down to, what are we down to, 45 laps? That is not a lot of laps at a place like IRP.
Definitely not, especially if we keep going the way it is. We've seen this time and time again. You get a little bit of green flag running, but once you get one yellow, you know what the thing is, caution breed cautions.
I actually think it's going to feel like more laps with the cautions, just because the caution laps are twice as long. It's going to go by a lot quicker if we get some green in here. So I think the intensity is going to come if we go another 10 or 15 laps and then get a caution. But if we get another caution immediately, it's going to start to drag on. And we'll see how it goes. But re-racked, restacked. The 67 now is on the bottom. And that hasn't slowed him down yet. He's made some great moves from restarting 7th or so a couple cautions ago. That forward progress is now going to be put head-to-head with the other leader tonight, the 49 of Alan Elwood.
We'll see how aggressive he wants to get. He got aggressive with Furness, but he's got one more spot. Got to go to battle with Elwood here.
Here we go, lap 116, 45 laps to go. Green flag back in the air again. The Area Lodgebox Series. Tight squeeze there with Weishart and Furness.
I think Furness has got the shot at taking it here. He's got the room ahead of him if he wants to slide up, but Weishart fires it through the center of the corner. Furness is just so close to clearing him, but can't do it.
Both cars bobbling at the exit of turn 4, scattering 3 abreast.
Furness got the spot.
Tight squeeze there with the 99 in the middle. Shane Therian on the bottom. They're going to bang doors.
Oh.
They gather it up.
I don't know how that was like the all-star race with Gordon, Newman, and Busch. I don't know how they didn't wreck this time, especially Therian, who looked to be at the worst part of that as he's still trying to make up time. Freshest tires in the field now.
As I mentioned, green flag laps tick away laps very quickly. Approaching 40 laps ago, we're under 15 minutes away from the checkered as the caution flies. And it's the 84. 18 laps down.
I think he might have gotten help here. Here comes Jeff Ryan, and yep. Oh, is that Therian?
No.
Jacob Hudson, who's already had damage, and now he has no front bumper. 84 comes down the track. 37 kind of held his line. The 84 came down there, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of time for both those drivers not to do that, though.
especially when it wasn't for position.
Yeah, with 18 laps down, getting yourself in a wreck 18 laps down is not a positive thing at this stage of a race.
That's for sure. It was one of the closest we've seen first and second, really all race after a restart. Elwood got that launch, but Cameron Hearn was very hot in pursuit there to stay on the bumper at the 49. So this one is definitely not going to be the restart dictates the race, as 67 can get him.
We have gotten a lot of SimWrap Market replays tonight. Fans, be sure to check out simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. James Scioli running in 6th. Got the Rick's Hot Sauce car. Had a pretty good night, championship leader, 2 wins on the season. Fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Be sure to follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see who will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Scioli's got a little bit of right rear damage, but who doesn't at this stage of the race? But honestly, Scioli has not been really near the front as a competitive leading car tonight. Really been playing second fiddle to the 49, the 67, and 28. Now, the reason I bring that up is because in terms of the points, I know Scioli's already got a win, but Furness, in terms of the point number, is going to gain some on Scioli if they finish as is. Not by a lot, but some. Actually, Alan Elwood is the one leading the points by 10.
Definitely looking to lengthen that lead.
I thought Scioli was leading because I think if we reference, yeah, he's leading the playoff standings. So I guess real points don't actually matter all that much, I don't think. But
Chase Elliott knows that better than anyone.
All right, so now we're going to be about 35 laps to go at the restart.
And they're just going to go slower and slower as we get closer to the finish, if we get more yellows, that is.
Yeah. I think it's not an if, but a win. And this is kind of what we expected. We actually had more green flag racing than I was expecting after that early kind of puddling of cautions. But at this stage, the expectation is that drivers are running out of time. They're going to get desperate. They're going to make moves that aren't going to work. That's just the reality of short track racing at this stage. Here's a look at the race recap. 39 laps to go, 38 this time by as we get the 1 to green and the double up.
More than that spent under yellow. 46 laps officially under yellow.
5 lead changes, and Cameron Hearn is going to try really, really hard. Make that go up to 6. Stay there.
Again, just wondering when he's going to try to get aggressive. He's already made some aggressive moves tonight, but he's going to need his most aggressive move for the win.
You know what they say about aggressive, Connor?
They go around.
Aggressive goes around. From the prophet, Rick Allen.
Profit. That's one way to describe it.
All right, lap 124, green flag. Elwood fires off quickly.
Was able to get in line, no issue. Furness didn't get the best jump that time, and what? Oh, car's already in the wall.
The 98.
Spinner, Zanto, and the 98 back into each other. We're still straight somehow.
We stay green. As up front, everyone's getting sendy. The 33's in the wall hard. The 27 to the inside, and now here comes the 67 or Hearn trying to get a run in the 49. This is a critical moment here.
Yeah, he's going to have to try something here, never knowing that yellow's going to come out. I already had 2 or 3 on this restart alone, but he's trying to go get them. And Furness is clear this time. Just, once again, they just don't have the pace of the top 2.
Scioli and Beckner were banging doors, trying to clear each other, but they have not done that yet. And Hearn is just all over the back of the 49. I think he's faster, but he slipped big time there on exit. Oh, there's a car off the racetrack. AJ Roderick in the 69.
Could be able to rejoin, but lose a lot of position, stuck on the bottom now. Seems like Hearn's really good through the center of the corner, but Elwood can really get a lot of good drive off. 67 just really charging entry to center.
47 almost understeered into the 09 of Senesac as he split everybody 3 wide there. 38, Darian trying to salvage his night after getting involved in a wreck. Not of his own doing, almost back to the top 10 at this stage. That would be a fantastic recovery if he could get up to the top 10 or top 5. Elwood is doing a great job hanging on to this lead. It all comes down to these restarts. That's how critical it is. And Cameron is not going to beat Elwood on the restart initially. He's going to have to fight back the laps trailing it, which is so much harder than just getting a decent run off a corner, but it's hard when you are already half a second behind by the time you get to the flag stand.
They're in a little contact with Ed Robertson. That's for 11th, but yeah, like you said, the restarts, unless you perfectly guess a restart, which is so hard to do, you're going to already be at a disadvantage no matter what. It's up to you to find the right part of the track to make time up, find where you're beating them, and try to improve on where you're not beating them, and just try to break even, and then maybe then after that, finally try to make up ground, and hopefully at least have a shot at the bumper to do something with the leader.
A couple of drivers getting very close together here, nervously close. Stay green, we stay competing as we approach 30 laps to go, and the leaders are still 0.3 of a second apart. Hearn has not gotten left in the dust, but he's not reeled in the 49 at much, if any.
He got close maybe 3 laps after the restart, but has started to fade a little bit off him. That time by a full 10th slower than Alan Elwood, and John Furness even was faster than him, not closing in very heavily as the 28th, though, as those three start to separate themselves from Weishart and Scioli, among others.
Scioli's trying to work over Weishart. He's a little quicker, I think, up the racetrack, trying to find any place that he can utilize his advantage. And on exit, you see he's a little bit better out of turn 4. He scrapes the wall on entry here, but you get mid-corner, he wants to turn down underneath the 33, but he just can't get the drive right here. He just can't get the drive that the 33 does.
And a part of that's the 33 also turning down to kind of turn off, sort of really cut off that 7's line, the line he wants to run. He's not doing it as well in 3 and 4, but definitely
right here, here's a crash, back straight away, and the 13 again, been a common denominator a couple times tonight. Oh, is the 10.
Yep. Yeah, Zanto's definitely been kind of the fly on the windshield. That one, not much really the 10 could do about it.
No, this is
10 wall. He's heard he got the wall riding warning again. I don't know if that counts, but even still, the 13 just didn't give him room.
This is just a frustrating one to watch here. 13 just keeps coming. You got outside in your ear. You know, racing for 23rd or whatever this is.
Especially since that happened to him earlier. You would think how to prevent that.
Right. I mean, did this to himself, so man, just definitely
just come down.
Oh boy, okay. This could mix some things up here.
Definitely the last pit stop for a lot of these guys. Garrett Grant was running 9th. He stays out. Shane Therian, he got fresh tires not too long ago. He also stays out. 47 to Mike Tellier. So only 3 drivers, and they're going to have 25 laps on these tires. See if anyone takes 2. Track position means a lot. You might see it here.
I think it means everything at this stage. I think 2 tires would be a fantastic call.
It was the winning call at Iowa
Scioli
not too long ago.
Rolling, and the 67 fires off. He will win the race off pit lane with a 2-tire
as well.
call.
I didn't even mention, I didn't see I saw behind the leader, but not the leader. Elwood stayed out. He got left on an island there.
So he's got Garrett Grant, Therian. Well, no. I don't know how I feel about this. If you were going to come to pit lane, 2 tires is the only call I would have made.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go through who did make that call. Cameron Hurd was definitely one. Scioli, Weishart, Beckner. Seems like everyone took 2. Want to see who took 4, because I want to see how good they are
so
here.
4 tires. The first 4-tire call is Pierce Maffitt back in 15th. So I just don't know. I don't think tires matter, but I don't think they're going to matter that much in the last 20 laps of this thing. I just think it's going to be all about the restart and getting a good launch.
Well, the way I see it, I think the difference between 2 and 4 is not going to matter. The difference between 0 and 2, I think, is going to be pretty drastic even still. I'm worried about those guys.
Alan Elwood, this point, has led 64 laps, and to get to the restart, will have led most laps of anybody, given that Cameron Hurd has led 66. That's a battle for a point. Tellier, how about his night? Started back in 34th place. Didn't he have an EOL for?
He did. Lap 109. not too long ago. Only 30, not even 30 laps ago.
Yeah,
and
he's back up into fourth somehow. I think the field pit ahead of him helped.
he's going to be the first one in line to really get swarmed up, and I'm interested to see what Hearn does. He's the first one on tires, but restarting on the bottom. We saw him wrap the bottom well earlier, but...
Yeah, I mean, Elwood's got 43 laps on his tires, but that's not 43 green flag laps, right? So the bottom is going to be usable if you've got fresh tires, but I don't know that it's going to be automatic easy pass mode. You're still going to have to work pretty hard for it.
Yeah, especially Alan Elwood, who's hungry to get another win. There's no way ever he's going to give it up easily. He's going to ride that top and try to pinch you as much as he can. He'll trade sliders with you if he has to. We'll just have to wait and see.
All right, Elwood warming up the tires. Got what he's got at this stage. Can't change what you've done now. You can't come to pit lane at this point. You've made your bed. You're going to lay in it. Here we go. 22 laps to go. Green flag, a late launch by the 49. And now it all comes down to those that came to pit lane, and they make their tires work on both right sides. On the 67 to the underside of the 47 now.
I'd watch Theron here. He has fresher tires than the guys ahead of him, and he might help everyone ahead of him with the 67 holding him off, as he's really going to hold up the 67 here. Hearn's going to give him the bumper. 47 up the track.
Slow out of turn 4. Everybody scatters.
Able to make it work. Hearn with the big dive under a 38. Looks like there's going to be no issues there.
47 was in the wall again in 1 and 2. Oh! 38 and 7 get together right in front of everybody in turn 4.
Oh, and he saved it. What a job.
And the caution came out again for a car that didn't fully spin.
I think that one saved a bigger wreck, though. See what happened. It's Theron again. Saw the same thing with Hearn. Yeah, same thing he did with Hearn, colliding down the back straightaway. And another drift. Not in the grass this time, but a drift nonetheless. Beckner had to slide to avoid as well. See what happens. Skyly dives low.
Curious if the 7 drifts up or the 38 bounces off the wall. No, 7 just drifts up a little bit too much there.
38 came down a little bit, but it was a lot of netcode for sure. Either way, lucky that wasn't bigger than what it was.
7, actually, Weishart will have a really good perspective on this as well. Yeah, 38 does come down a little bit, and that's all it takes. Watch this wild slide. Hits that wheel crank back to the right and does hang on to it.
Look at Beckner as well. Mike Tellier pit for, I assume, 4 tires. Might as well at that point.
Yeah, he was already, I mean, his fate was sealed by everyone else peeling off behind him. So he was one of those drivers that I think needed to pit. The ones that stayed out up towards the front, Elwood, Grant, Hearn, Therian, they're stuck in this spot, I think. They don't really have much of an option. The good news for them, well, maybe the bad news, 67 is in 3rd now. But on the inside.
We'll see how this works, though, because I assume Elwood's definitely going to take the top and pinch Hearn down behind Garrett Grant, who won't get the launch he needs to from being out front row alternate. It could work out for Therian. We'll have to see what he does, but once again, he is also on older tires, so it's going to be tough to stop Hearn at this point. He's already up to 3rd, and even with the yellows we're still getting at least a lap at a time, and that's just enough time for the 67 to take a bite out of you and take the lead away, potentially.
Would be re-racking and restacking next time by. Down to about 15-ish laps, 18 laps to go.
Attrition rate's only picked up at this point. Jacob Hudson's still running with a bent car and no front end.
Get another lap. Good opportunity to talk to you about Area iRacing.shop. Fans, be sure to check out Area iRacing.shop for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Shop from our selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. 17 laps to go now, Connor. Predictions at this stage. You still liking the 49, or you liking my pick, the 67, or not?
I think it's got to be with 67. He's already in 3rd place. I know Elwood's been fast, but with a tire disadvantage, I just don't see him being able to hold off the 67 unless he just gets a lot of timely yellows.
Hearn's led 66 laps. Elwood now has led 72. These extra caution laps here, but the tire advantage is about 40 laps worth, which again is 40 laps under mostly caution, but it's still going to matter. We've seen it matter. The difference is Hearn only has right side tires, which the left sides do get used a lot here, considering how flat the track is. You're kind of using those to hook the car around. You're not going to have that easy auto pass that you do on the bottom with a fresh set of tires and a big advantage over the next guy up the road.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see what he wants to do here, because he's obviously not going to be able to make up spots while staying behind Garrett Grant. It's a matter of how hard he's trying to push it on the bottom through 1 and 2 here.
Field rolls through turns 3 and 4. Elwood in command. 15 laps to go on the restart. From IRP, the Area Lodgebox Series, back under green.
A great start with, I believe, Theory and his teammate able to get going here to 67, jumped up to the top, giving a bump to the 5 of Garrett Grant. He's going to shift low here to make it 3.
Great run on the bottom of turn 2 to get to the inside of the 5, but can he do anything with it down here? Precious laps ticking away while the 49 is clear out front. They're going to bang doors if he doesn't pinch that off, and he will.
Here comes Beckner. He's got 2 as well, as he's going to be trying to follow the 67 through. I think this Hearn's really going to have no contest here through 1 and 2.
Yeah, he throttles back up, had to lift for a moment, but now he clears the 38. Beckner and power slide out of turn 2. The 67 is back to second. Many, many laps after a different strategy call. The 33's in the wall in turn 3.
Oh, spinning, Rabel's around. He's going to save it. We stay green this time.
Oh, man, it's going to bottle up everybody, though. Maffitt squeezes to the outside. Everybody dodging and weaving. Not sure we're out of the woods yet.
Boy.
The third goes to 35. A Lemke. It's finished off. There it is.
That's the yellow. Elwood keeps the lead, but now he's got no room between him and Hearn.
About a half a lap to make that crash happen. We don't really even need to bother watching a replay. We saw it all happen in real time.
Literally, saw the way it started and the way it finished. That's all we need.
So now we're down to, on the restart, 8 laps to go, 7? So at this stage, this is where we get into, this is probably the penultimate, maybe the third to last caution. If we get one more, we'll be pushed into green-white checker territory.
Yeah, just all depends on the type of runs we get here, and just I think the best thing for Elwood is if it went green there, because it's going to challenge her to make the pass a little harder, but we'll have to wait and see. It might help them because you'll get the better jump on the restart, but that 67 on 2 tires is just wrapping that bottom so much better.
Yeah, I do think
Beckner's in it as well now with 2 tires.
Yeah, I do think the 67 would have preferred the yellow versus not. The challenge is it's going to come down to the restart still. You know, you just can't let Ellen get a half a second advantage immediately. You're going to have to really be on top of it, and you have to guess, and you could guess wrong and get yourself a penalty, but I think you're better off just getting gutsy with the restart there and just throttling up, you know, and trying to match the 49 as best you can. If you can get side by side with the 49, I think he'll beat him. It's going to be challenging to get alongside him in the first place.
That thing, Elwood might really welcome yellows here if we don't get any green flag running. He can keep the lead, and he can keep getting that gap on the 67 and really not let Cameron Hearn have a shot at him. So at this point, that might be what the 49's rooting for here as James Cooey gets one of his laps around. Haven't talked about him tonight, but he's on the lead lap with a battered car.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned his name other than the initial starting lineup. Started 35th, and it has just been an unremarkable night, fortunately.
Not too banged up compared to the rest, but definitely the machine, the Camaro, especially the front end, worse for wear.
Paul Irvin has been a trooper tonight, was involved in some incidents that he didn't cause. Still rolling around in 25th on the lead lap.
No rear end, barely any front end, and he's really had it rough since lap 2 in that incident that he also didn't cause, and he's just been on the back foot ever since. Matthew Cochran coming to pit road, repair damage of his own. He's also just not had a lot of luck getting through anything tonight. He definitely hasn't caused anything because we haven't said his name all night, but on the wrong end of things for sure.
These short track races generally go one of two ways. Either we talk about you a lot because you're up front, or we talk about you a lot because you're having a bad night. And generally, if we don't talk about you a lot, it's because you're having an okay night or one that's just not that remarkable. And sometimes those not remarkable nights are pretty good ones.
You just don't want to be talked about if you're causing too much stuff.
Like Garrett Grant. We haven't talked about Garrett Grant hardly any. Here he is in 5th.
Yeah, and he's actually a decent call there to get some track position. If these can get some more yellows, it might work out for him. He's dropped back to 5th from 2nd, but
wasn't Tommy
being on the
Ryan
bottom's not gonna help.
underneath a car earlier tonight too?
Well, he got driven through by another car, but yes, that was him, and he's in 11th all of a sudden with pressure tires.
That's how things be. All right. Leaders getting racked up and stacked up. They've led roughly equivalent portions of this race. To be Toyota versus Chevrolet. The front 5 are all bow ties or Toyota logos. First blue ovals are Grant and Furness, 6th and 7th. The only ones inside the top 10 right now.
We'll just have to wait and see here. 4 cars going to let everyone by, and this is a big restart for Elwood. He has to get that jump.
Is probably the biggest restart. Caution has been extended.
That was for the 4 stopping to let everyone by. We'll go green again, but that kind of plays into Elwood's chances a little bit.
Helps, it certainly helps. Is that an automatic caution extension?
Yeah, it does. If someone stopped on the track, it'll just extend it, and that's what happened with the 4. But 6 laps instead of 7 definitely helps Elwood's chances.
Less laps, less opportunities for Cameron Hearn to make up the ground that he will inevitably lose on this restart. Cameron is going to have to be tacked up and ready to rip here as soon as they get to turn 4.
So they have to catch the pace car again here and get re-racked and restacked in a way.
Pace cars in and then back out. Back in and then back out. So, try this again. Elwood on the outside is your race leader. Hearn on the inside, trying to get back to the front after making that strategy call 50 some odd laps ago. Green flag back in the air and a good restart for the 49. Lots of shuffling in the background though into turn 1.
Hearn's just got much better drive through the center and off, and he's already on the bumper of Elwood here. Nothing the 38 could do. They're bouncing off each other in the way back. They're spinning, and the yellow's out. Huge for Elwood.
Yeah, Elwood is just loving that. Irvin, big time crash there. One of the drivers involved.
Santo, Lemke. I think Irvin was in it again.
Oop, 35 was sideways to kick it off.
Paul Irvin should not buy a lottery ticket ever again. He's just not had the luck.
Not going to play the 1.9 billion Powerball, huh?
It was already won anyways. Yeah, Lemke just got loose on his own. Taylor got walled ahead of him, but then Zanto, Irvin had nowhere to go.
Then just got pushed
off. Yep,
that's a bummer. This is going to push us almost into overtime, I'd have to imagine. It's probably gonna, which means that is our last opportunity if we get pushed into green white checker territory here.
Yes, we will for sure.
And we definitely will. So that means that the next caution, if we get one, will end this race. So Elwood just got granted a big gift.
Yeah, big time. And that was once again Cameron Hearn in the chat, very upset. Can't blame him when the yellows are coming for a battle for 22nd, 23rd. It's really can get frustrating when you're on the cusp of racing for the win and you just not allowed to race for it because of stuff out of your control. It can get frustrating.
Bailey Turner says hi, by the way, Connor, in the YouTube chat.
Oh, well, hi, Bailey. He didn't do well on Monday Night Racing on Monday, but that's okay.
All right, Area Lodgebox Series Racing from IRP. You're watching Sim TV. It has been a fun night. Mid-race, it has been a little bit of a incident-prone race, the back half of it, but we could have expected that. There is the lights of the city of Indianapolis, and just a couple miles away from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is IRP. This track, very unique in the short track world. High line dominant has been the story tonight. Strategy calls played by Alan Elwood and Cameron Hearn have put them in different places at different times, but both have roughly equivalent speed and will have one more restart to shake it down here at the end.
Cameron Hearn said he's going to race Alan Elwood like we're running in 23rd and 24th, so GG, he says. So fireworks potentially, we'll have to wait and see. Well, how else are you going to get by with really no chance to race, and you're only going to have 2 laps at it, I think.
He's going to have to do what he did to Furness earlier. Just, you see this? You can't even see it from this angle. There is the slightest little crinkle. I actually circled over it. There's the slightest little crinkle right there on the right front. That's from nudging John Furness earlier, and he just got him loose enough to get past. If he can do that to the 49 somehow, that's fair game. What I don't want to see is him go down there and turn him around or put him in the fence.
Yeah, but if Furness was pretty nice about it, I would at least hunt it for the 67's bumper again. Will Elwood be as nice about it? Because if it was for the win, you get the bumper. I don't think I'd be too mad at myself if I'd be mad at myself if I didn't give it back to him. That's what I was trying to say. I think if you get it, you have all the time in the world to give it back.
So this time through, Hearn going to get shoved to the bottom here as the lights extinguish on the safety car. We are officially in overtime, and the 49 taking the bottom.
Really?
Well, he knows how to put on a show. I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
Sure, why not? Just
happy birthday.
Put on a show. Yeah, want to put on a show, great, but I wouldn't give the top to Cameron Hearn. But if he can just get the jump and get clear, that might still be all he needs.
Yeah, again, I don't really actually think that the lane choice for the leader matters all that much. He's giving Cameron Hearn maybe a little thought that he might have an advantage here, but final restart of the night. If we get a yellow, race is over. If we go green, we're racing to the checkers. Green flag and an early jump by the 49. Everybody else fans out. 2 laps to go. And the 67 gets turned into the fence in turn 1. That takes out the 28 and more pile in.
That's.
Oh, man.
Furness got Furness in as well. Furness, Mitchell, Moffitt. And that's how this one's going to end. Poor Garrett Grant involved as well. And
catastrophic collision at the end. What happened?
That was, I don't know. It looked like Therian got a good jump and they were even. We'll see here. Therian got such a good jump and they were dead even. 67 better through the gears, and looks like 67 tried to come down maybe, but the 38 was pinching him up.
Garrett Grant gets caught up in that too. Man, he was having a good night. I mean, it's not even like one of those ones that you could squarely place the blame on somebody either. They just kind of come together.
And like circa Truex and Busch, just racing for the win, gone wrong.
Oh,
that is so unfortunate for Furness, especially Garrett Grant, so many other drivers who had such good runs and get nothing to show for it. But across the line, it's all good for Alan Elwood.
Alan Elwood, your race winner here. An anticlimactic finish. And unofficially, Cameron Hearn is going to come back in 23rd place.
That is so unfortunate. Good for some other drivers. Beckner 4th, Scioli 3rd, Senesac, Chambliss 6th and 7th. Tommy Ryan had a car drive onto him. He gets 8th. So few recoveries for some, but a lot of heartbreak for others.
Well, that was wild. Immediately back under yellow, and race ends under caution. Alan Elwood gets his 2nd win on the season. And he will celebrate here at IRP.
Rightfully so. It's a gutsy strategy call to kind of get left to dry on an island with no tires, but a lot of things that went his way, he was able to make it work, and 2nd multi-time winner on the season.
He was the only driver to finish the race that pit only twice.
It shows because that car is spotless, pretty much.
Yeah, it just played the track position game, and that was the game I think he should have played. Led 91 of 162 laps. And gets it done. Let's have a look at our race results. They got mixed up pretty wildly there at the end. Elwood, Therian, Scioli, Beckner, Weishart. How about Weishart getting a top 5 finally deserved? Bryce Senesac, Chambliss, Tommy Ryan. Hunter Collier rebounds for a 9th. How about Ed Robertson in 10th, too? Good night for him.
Yeah, a few of those guys at the very end of a top 10 were solid nights. Senesac was in a few incidents as well, got 6th. Tommy Ryan, as we said, got driven on to 8th place. Great job. And Collier, who was on the back foot with no tires earlier, and Ed Robertson, who we didn't even really see him get many incidents. He was just not really at the front, but definitely prevailed well after that 2 to go incident. Good job for him.
Some drivers that bounced back also from incidents. Tom Bourne, Mike Tellier, Chris Rabel, Pierce Maffitt, Jeremy Rigney all bouncing back. And then down towards the bottom here, this is where drivers had just not great nights. Finishing down towards the bottom end of the field here. Cameron Hearn, Garrett Grant, got to really feel for those guys. 21st and 23rd while they were running top 5 coming to the restart.
Yeah, we had guys that bounced back and guys that bounced around. And unfortunately, with how dominating the 67 was, put on a show in front and behind the rest of the field, just doesn't get the finish he deserves there, as everyone else, not too many other people finishing behind the 67, has had a lot of attrition the last half of this one.
Also hearing that the finish is, or the incident rather, is under review. So Dane Therian's 2nd place is unofficial as it stands. And that, I mean, all the results are unofficial, but that one specifically was outlined. So while we wait on that result, let's talk to Let's talk to James Scioli, who was second coming into the weekend. 2 wins on the season, misses out a win at this race by 2 spots. James, hey, congratulations. A P3 tonight. Pretty wild night, though, all around. Take us through your thoughts.
Yeah, just too much wrecking, and it always seems to kind of be the same guys every week. And I know we can put on great races up front. We have this season, last season, so I know we can put on great races. That's not the issue. It's just some of the people in the back just don't seem to know what they're doing, drive over their heads, especially at these short tracks like this. They're not too difficult, so it just kind of sucks. Definitely hurts the racing product, so just kind of sucks all around.
Yeah, there seemed like there was there's a pattern to the short track races where they kind of start messy, get cleaned up in the middle, and then end kind of messy. But in terms of your night, didn't have the opportunity maybe to get as many spots under green flag conditions. But looking at this as a points night, though, had to be pretty satisfied with that.
Yeah, can't be too mad about it. Was, of course, hoping to go 3 in a row, but 2 in a row and then a third after that, you definitely can't be too mad about that, especially I just kind of keep putting myself in a hole with qualifying, and starting 10th, especially at a track like this with all the cautions we got, definitely doesn't help. So just need to clean up the qualifying, but overall happy with how I did. Had that good save. Hopefully you guys got some good shots of that, because that was pretty crazy, and that allowed me to keep my track position there for the end, luckily.
Pretty wild, though, James. Congratulations. P7 on the night. Maybe you wanted a little bit more, but certainly not a bad one. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and huge shout out to Rick's Hot Sauce. Use code Scioli there at rickshotsauce.com. Get you $7 off. Dandles Candles, Chris Sports Cards, Butt Kicker, Matco Tools, all for being on the car, and all the admins and you guys in the booth. Definitely a tough night for you guys, so thank you.
This one actually wasn't as bad as we've had some other ones. This certainly it's ranks, but it's not that high on the ranking.
Well,
unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know how you want to look at that, but either way, definitely we've seen mess here. So,
right.
All right, James. Hey, congratulations. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Moving on now to second place, Shane Ferry in the number 38 car. New livery on the car. The Simrat Market colors looking extra spicy tonight. Shane, pretty interesting evening all around. Started 4th and in 2nd, but a lot happened in between.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, to talk about the finish, I don't like wrecking people, but it was a close racing, and it looks like, well, from my end, Netco, but the race control deemed it racing incident. But I don't know.
From our perspective, if it helps you, from our perspective, it didn't immediately seem like it was anybody's fault, really. We didn't immediately go, "Oh, Shane wrecked him." It just happened, and it does suck. But second place is second place. I know there's going to be some bummed out people, Shane, but still a good night, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it. I wanted to run these colors tonight and work on some team points. That's not how I wanted to get it, but
yep. Well, you got it. P2, Shane. I know it's kind of bittersweet, but better luck next week. Maybe get that W.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
All right, we'll see, Shane. Thanks for chatting. We'll see you next week.
See you.
Alan Elwood gets his second win on the season and will expand his points lead. Alan, congratulations. Track position was the play. You were the only driver to finish the race to do less than 3 pit stops. Take us through it.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I did not come into this race thinking I had any chance of winning. This track is not one of my favorites. I really haven't ever had any luck here, so I'm over the moon happy with getting the win tonight, and especially not pitting there at the end. I didn't think that many people would pit. I was really surprised, and I knew there would be some cautions, and just hoping that my pace could, keep me out front with whatever green flag laps we had, and then the cautions just worked out. So I'm so stoked.
Here's a question: why the inside lane on the restart?
I felt with Shane being in third, him and I could work together to try to keep the fresh tires on the outside there in turn 1. And then that incident happened. Who knows if, that didn't happen, what would have happened after the fact. But it is just one of those things that I thought that restart, I was better served on the bottom. Me and the teammate try to work together and stay up front, and it worked out. So that was the main reason.
Well, a really solid night. Alan led a whole bunch of laps en route to the victory. Well earned. Cameron had a lot of pace, but the strategy didn't quite work out for him. Congratulations. Enjoy that win, and we'll see you next time.
I appreciate it, guys. Real quick, want to thank Simrat Market, everybody here, area, you guys here in the broadcast booth, everybody at Sky Motorsports, and it was great racing Cameron all night long. I hate to see what happened with those guys, but he had hella pace, like you said, and tough luck on his part, but it was good racing with him today.
Yeah, tough night for the 67 for sure, Alan. Congratulations, though. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right, Connor, quickly wrap this one up for me. Incident-prone night, but some good racing in the mid-pack there, or middle of the race, I should say, throughout the evening.
Yeah, we got a really good racing once it went green, but it was just a lot of trouble for some of the guys, maybe not at the front to go green. So unfortunate. It's kind of see this happen almost all the time at short tracks, just hard to avoid it. But end of the day, we still had great racing, especially at the front. Some crazy saves by Hearn and Scioli. And end of the day, strategies sort of clashed, and we saw cars and drivers clash at the very end there. Who knows what would have happened? But end of the day, a gutsy call by Elwood and maybe a little bit of mistake from what he said in his interview. Didn't think that many people would pit. End of the day, his teammate being able to restart on the inside with him was able to get him the race win, and that's all that matters for the 49 machine.
Elwood gets his second win on the season. That's going to do it for us tonight. We'll see you next week with the Area Cup Series on Monday as they head to Atlanta. All three series, Truck Series and Lodgebox and Cup, all headed to Atlanta Motor Speedway next week. Some interesting things in store on November 14th, 15th, and 17th. We'll see you there. Kyle Heyer, Connor Horn bringing you the action on Monday. We'll see you with the whole crew back in the office on Monday night.